So you press the button.
Yeah.
Then you press. A lot of times there's another button, so you have to press the other button.
I don't see any other buttons.
Oh, well,
Hopefully that's the right one.
who knows?
Hi, people.
I mean, no one's here. It's not like
Yeah, I mean,
anybody's going to pay attention to this.
it is totally just going to be us talking into the void tonight, which is nice. I mean,
It's not the first time we've talked into the void. Satyr gets learned about. Oh yeah, I forgot.
I have not, because I'm excited to
Yeah.
learn how dumb I am.
Okay. So, as music was getting posted in the Discord this week, we're just going to dive on into this because I want to get it out of the way.
All right.
And so, was going through music, and the thought popped into my head. And just the kind of that like background rage that I have about a certain band that I'm not even sure if I can like say their name out into the internet.
Oh yeah, I
It's
mean,
one thing to say it on the Discord, but I don't know.
yeah. It is so awkward. It is so awkward.
And so I'm not going to say what it's the band that was our second intro music for Transmissions from the Bunker.
Yes. And we, quite frankly, we didn't deserve that.
No, we didn't. But they were gracious and let us use the song, and it was a really good song. Like it worked really well.
It was fantastic.
And then we switched to the clock song, which, of course, then I went into that rabbit hole of like, oh yeah, clock.
Yeah.
What are they up to? I wonder.
Yeah, actually, if as a total aside, the guy who is Clock came from a band called Empyreon that was really big in the 90s. Very electronic band from the 80s, 90s-ish. Anyway, there were three of them, and one of them overdosed, I believe.
Oh.
And is no longer with us.
Oh, no.
And the two that were left have done a couple gigs since then, but they just were like, no, we're not going to do this anymore without him. And they just announced that they're getting back together again and doing new music. So
okay, well that's fun.
Total aside, but related, which is dope. And hi, Sang, what's up, man?
But so I was going through all this stuff.
Yes.
Hi, Sang, by the way. And I listened to one of our like moment episode intros because I was just going through trying to find the stuff. Then I ended up in this folder and I'm playing them, and Mrs. Pastor is listening.
Oh God.
and at one point, early on, you said, joining us from almost Canada is Pastor Recoil. And Mrs. Pastor heard that, and Mrs. Pastor got offended.
Now, hold on. Where exactly were you when I said this?
I mean, drunk, but this was years ago.
Yeah, but you were in Utah, correct?
When you said this, I was in Utah, yeah.
Okay.
And this is what got her offended. Because, and she went for like, there was like 15 minutes. She was figuring all this out. She sent me screenshots. So, you're going to like this. So, from Lexington, Kentucky. From Lexington, Kentucky to a border crossing with Canada.
Yes.
Is 5.5 hour drive, 346 miles.
Yeah.
From Lexington, Kentucky to a border crossing with Canada.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
From Brigham City, Utah, where I was, to a border crossing with Canada is 9 hours and 14 minutes and 631 miles. So you were closer to Canada when I lived in Utah than I was.
I'm trying to put this together, and I'm trying to somehow redeem myself in my head. Give me a second and see if I can pull something out of my ass real quick. Okay. I would reckon that drunk me was calculating distance not by mileage,
okay,
or by travel, but by the number of people between you and that thing, right? So the number of people, physical human beings
if you go by physical number of people, yes, then I would have been closer. by physical number of people.
Yes. I still stand by my answer.
That is a valid way of measuring things that people totally do on the regular. So okay. So that was it. Was just making sure you knew that like you were not just a little bit closer to Canada.
Oh no, but like a lot.
Solidly twice as close to Canada.
No, but I'm okay. Saying that you are hailing from almost Canada.
More almost Canada now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But
because like, you know, it's right there.
But technically to most of the planet, we're both almost Canada. There we go. There's the calculation.
Okay. There it is. I will spot you that one.
Barlazy. I drunk me once upon a time.
Like forever ago, drunk you said to drunk me.
Something stupid that made no sense whatsoever. And someone...
And Mrs. Castor took umbrage.
Sober, decades later, decided...
Not confident in the sobriety, but...
Okay. But literally at least a decade later...
At least. Definitely longer.
And decided out of the years that we did the podcast and the countless amounts of ridiculous nonsense that came out of my drunken mouth.
And mine.
That was the first thing I've been called on.
Yeah. So there you go. Congratulations.
That's how I know that I am not Hitler. Because someone would have had said something by now.
Yes, it is the internet after all.
Right?
Oh.
Yes, Reaper. Reaper is almost Mexico.
Reaper?
100%. And Reaper.
Yeah, Reaper's...
I was not planning on you being here, even though you said that you would be here at the beginning of this.
Yeah, you said you were going to be here for an hour, and then you said you weren't. And so we were just assuming that you weren't going to be here. Yeah.
And I, you know what happens when we assume... something about acids.
You're usually correct.
And assuming?
That's the one.
That's food, right? Or something?
That's umami.
Umami. So
hold on. Reaper, you're sitting at the airport.
Yes.
Okay. You're listening to us at the air. Like, I feel like that's a federal crime.
Please tell me you're doing it like Subway style, like with a boombox. And everyone can hear us. That would be dope.
Is there is someone wearing a headband going to come up, pinch your neck, and you'll fall down and turn the music off?
Yeah. And then everyone on the bus claps.
Yep. I can see Mexico from most places in San Diego. Sorry, most places in San Diego. There are most places in San Diego?
There are places in San Diego.
I didn't know that.
So I binge watched over the weekend the second season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to I have a hot take about Star Trek.
Oh. Is it that it's going to die now that they're talking about it being bought by Warner Brothers Discovery?
I mean, probably. But
they can't. They were handed the most popular superhero franchise in all the land and punted.
I mean,
badly.
They've done that a couple times, right? God, what is going on with my camera?
Dude, I don't even know.
What was I saying? Something about...
The moat is called the Tijuana River.
That's fair. Okay. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
Okay. Now that's the Captain Pike one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it exists in this new Star Trek timeline, I guess, or this new Star Trek thing that they're doing, right? And in this new wave of Star Trek, you have that and Star Trek Lower Decks. And they exist kind of in the same place.
Well, but like Lower Decks is like next gen era, right?
It's way in the future. It is.
Oh, okay.
It is way beyond what we know. So everything is past tense to them.
I know that like Janeway is still a thing, but that's about all I know about Strange New Worlds. Lower Decks.
Yeah. So there's a crossover episode
I remember, wasn't it also a musical somehow?
No, 2 episodes later
Okay.
was the musical,
Okay.
which somehow makes perfect sense in world. Both of those things.
No. Yeah.
And
The best ones do.
I'm going to say that season 2 of Strange New Worlds, specifically that crossover episode and the musical episode, are the best thing to happen in Star Trek ever, hands down.
Interesting.
I think what they are doing right now with those 2 shows is so beyond what any of the other shows has ever done. And
Okay.
and taking it like they're getting to do stuff in Strange New Worlds, the stuff that we wanted them to do in Enterprise. Like all the shit we were hoping that they would do in Enterprise, they're doing in that show, and they're
nice,
fucking nailing it. It's brilliant.
Didn't Carol Kane show up?
Yes. And she's one of my favorite Star Trek characters ever.
It's okay. Also, it's Carol Kane. Like, has she ever been in anything that she's like not good?
The funny thing is, like, even they know when she is on screen, everybody's paying attention to her. Like, they wrote her character so that, because they know that there's nothing you can...
Right, like, because it's Carol Kane.
Yeah,
like,
she's going to take every scene even if she tries not to.
Like, she was the backgroundist of background characters in Addams Family Values, and yet...
Stole the show.
She's Carol Kane.
Her line from, anybody got a peanut?
The liar!
Like, out of an entire film of amazing characters, she has like this much screen time. And I mean,
competent.
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Out of an entire film of amazing characters, Carol. Okay, I gotta look this up now. Like, what all? Because I think first time I remember encountering her was Taxi.
Oh yeah. And see, I never really watched Taxi much.
My parents loved Taxi, so of course when I was a kid, it was just on.
Right.
Okay, so we got.
And come on, how is she not? Like, she looks amazing.
Right.
She looks amazing.
She is 71.
Right. I've hit that point in my life where I'm looking at 70-year-olds going, no, they're hot. Like, I'm sorry.
I saw this TikTok, right? And it was Achy Breaky Heart's daughter. Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
Singing with Billy Idol. And I was like,
yeah.
How? Like, did he just pickle himself?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
He does not look at all like...
That's decades of drug use.
I mean, it worked for him.
Right? Scrooge? That's the first thing I saw her in, was Scrooge.
Oh, yeah.
Again, a film filled with amazing characters. Her character is the thing that's burned in my head forever.
Okay, so film. Let's see what I can pick out here. Muppet movie.
That's true. You're correct, Say. I'm the creepy old guy now, so that's fine.
Jumpin' Jack Flash, Princess Bride, Scrooged.
Oh, Gotham. She was in Gotham. Forgot about that.
Addams Family Values.
She's in so much stuff.
Man on the Moon.
So much stuff.
Okay, TV. So we got Taxi.
Right.
Like episodes here and there, episodes here and there.
Oh yeah, the Muppet movie. Oh my god.
Yeah. There's a voice on Hey Arnold.
Laverne and Shirley.
There's a voice on Blue's Clues.
Oh my god. Okay. She's amazing.
Oh my gosh. She was she's one of the characters' grandmas on Phineas and Ferb, because they've just gotten like he got everybody to be on his show.
Of course. Why wouldn't he?
Like the dad is Riff Raff from Rocky Horror.
Oh, nice.
There's one scene where they're like doing a Halloween episode, and he's like, or it was either a Halloween episode or an episode talking about music, and he's like, it's not rock and roll if there's not.
I always like to find that one obscure project a star did, so that if I ever run into them, I can bring that up instead of their big role, so it seems like a big fan. Exactly, right? I want to like think of the weirdest thing that I can that someone's been in and be like, oh yeah, that.
Was she in
Flashback?
Yes,
Joe versus the volcano.
She was also the second best part of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. The one time that I think she's been overshadowed was by Titus Burgess.
Oh. Wow.
Because he was a lot.
Yeah. I mean, how could you...
At the very least, like, they are... like... I did not care at all about Kimmy in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, but, like, Titus and Lillian were the best characters.
She was in Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, Gus Van Sant. Amazing. It's about a girl with a gigantic thumb, and she uses it to hitchhike.
Oh, okay.
Among other things. She's also a lesbian. I'm just pointing out things that happen in the movie. Nothing.
What was the weirdest cast of a part you get? Like,
which actress is hot at 70? Carol Kane. We love Carol Kane. I'm saying for a 70-year-old, she's a hottie. She's a little cutie.
What was the weirdest cast of a part that we've ever seen? Like
the weirdest person to put in a role?
Like, not now. Do you mean like a bad casting, like someone who should not have been playing that part, or someone that like was so like it was so miscast that it worked perfectly?
Yeah.
Because those are two very different things.
I can think of all of Battlefield Earth. I mean, what is the weird? Yeah, just anything. The weirdest writers, weirdest. It's just a weird movie. Give me $3 million and I'll look great at 72, right?
You're not wrong.
Like I'll go out on a limb and say. Heath Ledger as the Joker was one of the wildest casting decisions I thought. I mean, it was out of left field. Nobody thought that was going to work.
Yeah, and it really did.
And it completely redefined the character. So, I mean, that's one for me.
So there.
Oh, casting that made you go, why? Anything
just about anything Tom Cruise has been in.
Yeah,
recently?
I was like anything with a Tom in it. Tom Cruise, Tom Selleck,
yeah,
Tom Holland. I'll give you Tom Holland, just because he's a little cutie, right? It's Tom Holland. It's Tom Holland. How can you not like Tom Holland?
Yeah,
Tom Hanks. Anything in any time Tom Hanks is in a movie, it seems confusing to me.
And yet, with Tom Hanks, it usually works.
Right. By the way, we're both wearing one of my t-shirt designs.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
That is fantastic. That was not on purpose.
Any white guy is Jesus. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
Anyone that wasn't a white person in a film before like 1964.
I did see I saw somebody talking about like it's time to do a remake of White Christmas. But like the only casting that I'm sure of is George Clooney has to play the general.
Okay.
Because his aunt was in the original.
Right. No, that makes sense.
And he's of the right age now to play the general.
Yeah.
Like, he can pull that off. But, like, they tried to suggest, who was the... So they tried to do Julianne Hough and Kelly Clarkson as the female roles, and Jonathan Gordon-Levitt and oh crap, who were they trying to cast as Bing? And I didn't think that would work.
Joe Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah, that's the one.
I was like, does he have a brother I don't know about?
What did I say?
Jonathan.
Oh, oops.
Jack Black. Oh yeah, anything with Jack Black.
It was one of those like
Mickey Rooney
singer dudes.
Anytime Mickey Rooney played Asian, that's
Gosh,
questionable.
and the number of times that he played Asian is a little bit disturbing.
Yeah, like I genuinely liked Mickey Rooney as a kid, and then the older I got, the more I realized like you can't do that many times accidentally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, that reminds me. So one of the only holiday movie that we have left is actually called The Holiday. It's got Jude Law, Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, and a couple other people. But like, if you ever wondered if Jack Black was a talented actor, like, you need to watch, like, this movie will change your mind.
Actually, I think I've seen this. Yeah.
And I have a problem with Jude Law, so that's how, like, I got into it.
What what kind of problem?
I like Jude Law.
Okay. That's fine.
That's, yeah, like, and it's like, it's very much a rom-com, but it's fun. Oh, Kate Winslet, that's the other one.
Did I ever see Rooney in Silent Night 5? No.
What?
I didn't, but I will ask Johnny because I know he has. There was a group for a small moment in the 90s that that had Jude Law in it. He was a member of this group. And we were all very excited because we thought it was going to be like a 90s Brat Pack, and they were like nailing it with people that were falling into it. And then a couple of them got married, and then there was like a weird three-way, and then it all fell apart.
Oh, okay.
There was a production company involved for a little while. It was weird, man. The 90s were a strange time.
All right, then. I was visiting my mom for Thanksgiving. She had Hallmark Christmas movies, and all of them could be called White Christmas.
That's literally every... They are very white. Oh,
so
the whole harm.
I figured out there is the Venn diagram of people who love Hallmark movies and people who hated Barbie. Like, that is a circle.
Okay, hold on. I have to check this theory. Because I went to my parents' house at one point over the holiday season, and it was just Hallmark movies the whole time. I've never seen a Hallmark movie. That was the only time I've ever seen it.
If you've seen one, you've seen literally all of them.
Hallmark is too woke. So I have to ask my mom, Barbie the toy, yes or no?
No, like the movie.
Oh, the movie. Barbie the movie, yes or no? Oh. Hold on, let me rewind. Say that sentence again. The Venn diagram.
People who like Hallmark movies
and
people who hated Barbie the movie.
I actually can already answer. I don't even have to ask her because I know she's probably not seen it because she that's just not something that she would see. So I think it is the thing that proves the point?
The exception that proves the rule?
Yes, that's what I meant.
So, because the whole thing of Hallmark movies is the magic of conservative hometown love
always fixes the inner city guy.
The liberal city girl
back to the country.
To the country.
Yeah.
And back to her conservative roots.
I sing the
But-
Ken song in the shower sometimes.
But the Barbie movie is not that message.
No.
Like, it is both a commentary on the role of women in society as well as toxic masculinity.
And handled in a way that it shocks me that people were upset about it.
And I admit, like, the first time I watched it, I thought it focused too much on Ken, but the second time I watched it, I realized what they were doing.
Right. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny because everybody thought, like, if you the first time you watch the movie, you think that movie exists for young women.
But it doesn't.
It was written for like 20-year-old guys.
Yeah.
It was 100% like pointing directly at them.
Even down to the, I don't actually like the patriarchy. I just thought it was about horses. Like,
and him going back and talking to the other Kens, and he's like, there was a brief moment there where I thought everything was run by horses, and that was pretty cool.
it's so good.
You have to see it. It's fantastic. It is such like a here's feminism, and here's why it's better than you fucking ape.
Yeah. That is... Because it makes very clear, like, that feminism is good for men.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is fixing you guys. You're the fucking problem. The problem is you. Yep. But like, it does it in a way that, like, it's not the Barbie character pointing at Ken saying you're the fucking problem.
No, it's Ken.
It's Ken realizing it on his own, which is...
And then realizing it on his own and then having to perpetuate it because of the system that he created.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's so good.
And
it's layered.
Yeah, and there's another whole level of complexity about the dolls that get worked too hard and become the crazy outsiders.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, Kate McKinnon is perfect in that kind of role.
Right?
Like,
as the broken Barbie?
Oh, she was so
like, come
good.
on. Why is she always doing the splits?
And I loved all the, like, midge shame. Just...
Oh, so good.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Maybe.
I'm gonna say it is slowly becoming one of the movies that I can just throw on and have in the background, and that it's just always okay.
Oh yeah.
To have running. It's like I've watched it work a couple times. My coworker
What about
probably
the Barbie with the inflatables?
It's fantastic.
That
which
one's on there.
Is a thing, which is just
all of the one of the most self-aware moments in the whole movie is when Margot Robbie is having the like existential crisis about how she's not hot enough or whatever, and the narrator pipes in with, maybe they shouldn't have cast Margot Robbie for this part.
It's really hard. It's really hard to feel bad.
It was just so self-aware.
So good. Definitely worth a watch. It's, I would say, like a perfect date movie. Hands down.
Ooh.
Like if you needed a date movie,
it would be a good date movie.
Hell yeah.
Now,
For
it would
sure.
backfire if you don't live up to what the movie says, but
I mean, it would be, I think it would be good either way because it's like it's a acid test, right?
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Like if you come out of that bitchin', I got to see a good movie and I learned that I'm wasting my time here.
That is true.
So I'm going to say that this last week has been interesting on the Discord.
Has it?
Yeah.
Johnny just recently watched a certain holiday movie for the first time?
Yeah. Last night we watched A Christmas Story. He'd never seen it before.
Okay.
And he was like, "You've seen it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "You know,
I'm sure it aged like milk."
It's fine. It's about like I remembered it, which is just it's very like it's just a boomer doing this shit the whole fucking time.
Oh.
It's that era of movie of just like weren't my childhood times fantastic? Well, there's no racism here.
What have I been...
Uh-oh.
Mrs. Pastor made this.
Wait, she just made her own tortilla?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Am I...
Eat it. Oh my god, you questioned that?
Oh, good though. You did make really good tacos.
That's amazing. Andy's like, keep her. That is a really small blanket. Oddly enough, I got a tortilla blanket for my coworker.
We have been realizing the past couple of years that like Todd and Margot are the real heroes of Christmas Vacation. We're just putting up with Clark.
Yeah, those movies are fantastic. Because you're the older you get, like as you age, you view it through many different eyes.
Well, I wasn't.
And you ask if you should eat it.
Sometimes she makes things like she made crackers today, and she told me that I couldn't eat all of them because we need them for later. So I didn't know. As
far as I'm concerned, if you hand something to me, it's mine now. Food, it's mine now. Okay. Like, thank you. This is amazing. It's going in my mouth.
Yeah, it was really good.
So Mrs. Pastor handed you a tortilla that she just made. Mm-hmm. And you said she was making crackers earlier.
Mm-hmm. She's been baking.
Is that considered baking? Making crackers? I guess you bake them, right?
You do bake them.
Yeah.
She's making us like bread items for Christmas because she's a millennial, so she adopted a sourdough starter for a Tamagotchi.
Oh, wow! That is exactly what happened, isn't it?
So
wow, okay.
When there is like discord, like as you're feeding it, you have to like use up the discard, or else you just throw it away, which is wasteful,
right?
And she had a lot of discard. So she's made like English muffin bread.
Ooh, nice.
She made bagels a couple days ago. Those didn't go as well. She's just still working on those.
Bagels are hard.
Complicated.
Yeah. There's like different processes and the boiling and the yeah.
She's been figuring out tortillas. And then she made these sourdough crackers.
I miss one of my first best friends when I was little. Came from a Mexican family. Like he was Mexican. And there were certain days where they would make tortillas and we would just sit and make tortillas. Yeah.
I miss buying tamales from all the little old ladies at the Catholic Church.
I miss the Mexican food.
They do not
Fuck
have
Robert.
it in Pennsylvania.
No. I actually do miss Robert, but I can't. Okay. Do you know how hard it is to find a guy my age from Colorado named Robert Sanchez? That's like Bob fucking Smith, bro. Come on. It's literally like if you pick the fucking worst possible name. And then it's like, okay, let me narrow it down. I know he went into the military.
Yeah.
You know, there's that doesn't filter any of it out. So the Discord. Yeah. I've been a little more active this week because it's the week in which I'm not wanting to do any work. Every year, this week and next week, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't want any responsibility. Nobody's checking on me. So nobody cares. Nobody needs anything from me. Why would I waste my time? Right?
Right. I will feel that way next week.
Right.
Because I can't this week.
That's fair. This is a very busy week for you. This is like one of your busy times of the year.
Yep.
It's just so weird to me.
Sunday is probably the second busiest day of the year.
It's funny that we live in like all of the shit that we complain about with politics and society, and like we have all this crap in our head that we're like holding in place in the universe. It's just funny to me. You just back up and look at stuff, whether it's related or not. That this time of year is really, really busy for two people. Churches and capitalists. And it's just funny to me that those things do this so tightly woven together.
Well, seeing as the church married itself to capitalism, then, well, you know.
Which is... Like, how far back do you have to go in theology to find where it got fucked up?
In this particular case, about 500 years, and it coincides with racism.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah, it's all racism.
It's all racism all the way down.
It really, really is.
Yeah. So on the Discord,
one of my books for school, I only was assigned certain chapters, but it's like describing how capitalism happened.
It's a lot of people deciding to fuck a lot of other people over.
Yep. And it was actually really slow, but it basically was all built around selfishness. Yes. Selfishness and exploitation.
Yeah.
Which, when you roll the racism into that, you get America.
Yeah, we're good at two things: racism and capitalism.
Exploitation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, delivery drivers, I bet, are having it crazy.
Oh yeah. There's like, we started getting our Amazon and UPS and stuff is started getting delivered late, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and so I was talking to Johnny about that.
We all know that there are very exploitative churches out there.
Johnny went and looked it up, and like they just load the trucks full and tell the drivers, since the drivers technically work for another company, they just say,
no,
you're done when you finish.
Oof.
So yeah, the drivers are out there late. Love your drivers, please. Oh, so yeah, you're doing a thing. Okay. You're in the process of doing a thing on YouTube.
I am in the process because I am reinventing Pastor Rico's Parish because it stopped being fun.
Which is when you should do that.
I have gone from what was actually not a lot of work to way more work than I thought this was going to be.
Yeah. Some of which was probably my fault.
Yeah, I mean, it was, actually.
I tend to be able to talk you into dumb shit.
But holy crap. Like, I've got the first script done. I'm probably fixing to record it, like, over the Christmas quiet times.
Nice.
The first script, let me pull it up. I want to get the exact number because, you know, it's more fun that way. The first script is... There it is. I found it. We are at... Oh, wait, that's the second script.
Two audio perfectionists trying to make stuff and it isn't going faster smoothly.
Well, that too. The first script is currently at 4,022 words.
Jesus.
Which comes out to roughly a 30-minute video.
That's not bad.
No, not terrible. The second episode script, I am not done. I've written like I've written 3 pages and the entire thing is outlined. And it is already 2,862 words.
Do you want to shorten it or lengthen it?
Yeah. I knew that episode 2 was going to be a long one. But I'm guessing it might end up 6,000 or 7,000.
Shoo.
if the first one was 4,000 and this one has a lot more stuff in it, yeah.
In my head just then, I put together an entire series of events. And I know how to build Pastor Recoil in an AI.
Uh-oh.
Because of your blog posts. We could make an AI Pastor Recoil.
Oh dear.
That you could...
That's terrifying.
You could actually say to it, like, I want you to write a so many word article on this theology related topic in this style, and it would probably be able to do it pretty fucking close to reality.
Well,
Anyway.
But a lot of the stuff on the blog is so old that
Right. But it wouldn't be using the thought process, it would just be using the wording.
Oh, okay. So it'll be very wrong.
Right.
And an entire nightmare. Because I've noticed this about, like, because I've been using Bard a lot to, like, help with some of these things.
Yeah.
I use Bard to help me write my sermons. Like, it's a great way to, like, put in, here's what I'm thinking I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
is there anything I've forgotten?
Yeah. Or even
like,
hitting it with a, like, hey, can you just poke a hole? Like,
Yeah.
you can throw shit at it that's pretty vague, and it'll give you feedback that helps.
Yeah. And usually it's like 90% of what it spits out is useless.
Right.
But that 10%, like, it's like, oh, that's something that's
Yeah.
good. I need to include that.
Yeah.
So
It's about how I've been using it for programming.
yeah, and when you use it, like I think that's a good way to use the tool. But there are definitely times when, like, as you get into more specialized knowledge,
Yeah.
AI really, like, you need to know your stuff because
It falls apart.
AI doesn't.
Yeah. But it's really confidently incorrect.
It is.
Really, really confidently. Yeah, so you were working on these longer form
Switching
episodes.
from weekly episodes to monthly episodes, kind of answering the big questions in Christian theology.
Which sounds fun to me. Like, I'm excited to see all of this fall together.
And it's not like, it's not a, like, this is everything that has ever been talked about on this topic. Like, it's how I would answer these questions.
Yeah.
Kind of what is, to put it in fancy terms, like, what is my own personal systematic theology?
Yes. What is Pastor Recoil a pastor of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had asked me to do something.
Yeah.
To do some
I've
music.
been working on, like, updating some music, because these longer episodes, like, having the same track over and over again, it'd get real annoying. But if I have a couple, like, that would be a little bit easier to cycle through.
Yeah. Hi, Stars.
And yes, Stars, I am the pastor of
The
disaster.
pastor of disaster. I've learned a lot in a very short amount of time about a type of music that I knew nothing about.
You very much are not the kind of person who would be very aware of older hymns and, like, stuff based in chant.
Yeah. And by default, hymns are written in a way that is completely alien to me. Okay. So, like, everything about how they are structured and put together is completely alien to me. Because I come from a world of electronic music and 5-piece band music, right? Like rock and roll music. It's chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, intro, outro, ta-ta. There's a song.
Yep.
Or it's an electronic song and it's straight 8s, straight 16s, or whatever.
Yep.
Very used to those things. Hymns don't work that way at all.
Yeah. One of the ones that I'm working on is mostly in 10/8. I say mostly because there's a couple measures that are definitely not.
So that's an interesting topic, because that was one thing that I noticed about pretty much all the hymns is, okay, structurally, it's like most of them are like chorus, 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 chorus. Ta-da! Or
Yeah.
verse, 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 verse.
Yep, exactly.
Like it's not like chorus, verse, chorus, bridge. It's
you
not like
usually don't get a
chorus.
bridge.
It's not even chorus, verse.
You'll occasionally get some that are like chorus, verse, verse, kind of.
Which is really just a longer chorus, chorus,
Yeah.
chorus, chorus.
Yes, exactly.
So that's a thing. Structurally, they're just fucking weird.
Yep.
And then they're also like the tempo of them makes no sense.
Yeah, because the older ones, like the really old ones, are based in chant, and chant is just talking with music.
Right. Like I went and downloaded a bunch of MIDI, right? Because I'm gonna go download a bunch of MIDI.
Right. And I think that site that I linked you to a bunch of stuff at had MIDI that you could download.
Yeah, and I thought it was weird because it was literally just like it could have been in any tempo because it's just on the beat. There's a note change. That's it. It's just ding, ding,
that's
ding,
how a lot of them are.
ding,
Yep.
ding, ding, forever. And I was trying to find like where's the loop? Where's the spot where this thing loops?
The end.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's just kind of a spot where you breathe for a second and then it starts all over again. So I originally tried to kind of fall into the style that you had originally gone with.
Yeah.
And I failed miserably because
It's not you.
it's not me. That shit ain't me. Now I've gone completely off the rails in the other direction. And I think I created something. It is the weirdest thing I've ever made. I don't. I can't tell you what tempo it's in. The original MIDI file was in 3/2.
Okay.
And I switched it to 4/4, nothing changed. So, but
Yeah.
there's 3 tracks of percussion, and each one's doing a different thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be something. It'll be set.
Yeah. Plus,
Old slow ears.
your ears are definitely doing something weird with like how many songs you think were faster than they used to be.
Well, and I'm realizing I don't think it's a speed thing. Because I'm listening to the songs and they like if I take my emotion out of it and just think about the tempo, I'm like, I'm gonna think about this like a drummer. And I'm like, no, the tempo, it's not a tempo thing. It's like an energy thing. Like the songs that used to sound really fucking heavy to me sound like guys in their garages going king 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 king.
Yeah. Now was that because it was it the Butthole Surfers song that played that you were like,
Yeah.
this is one that always
Yeah. Butthole Surfers. But like any rock and roll, anything from the 90s, it just sounds like it doesn't sound like it has the same impact as it did then.
I wonder.
Oh, your plane is late again. Oops.
I wonder if it's because it was before the loudness wars.
That's what I'm thinking, that maybe I'm so used to everything, just the absolute energy being hammered out of it, that I'm not used to things having play in them anymore.
Because, like, you think about, like, Nirvana, Butthole Surfers, Dada, like, they were all before the loudness wars really kicked in, because that was more like early 2000s, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was the late 90s, like the ass into the 90s, and then into the, I mean, I would say that Metallica album.
Yeah, that one.
That killed, that
one
was the end.
Yeah.
That was the inevitable end of the loudness wars.
Was that Saint Anger, or is that because they've had like 3 albums that, like, production wise were so bad that
Matches their writing, in my opinion.
I'm still trying to figure out how Lars Ulrich has managed to like not improve as a drummer in 30 years in Metallica.
Because you actually have to play drums to improve. And what he does is not playing drum. He literally just goes and bangs on shit and then goes home. I hate that, man. And from this point on, because of you just then, his name it is now forever Lulz Ulrichsen.
Lulz Ulrichsen. Okay.
Lulz Ulrichsen.
I mean, I'm still mad at them for the Napster nonsense.
Oh yeah, I didn't like their music. But I didn't have an opinion about them as individuals until then, and I just was like, okay.
Yeah.
And yes, there is the bad stuff is on Discord.
Yeah. And the stuff I've been working on, it's in the recording and production channel.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen.
Yeah. And that's a thing, I guess. Yeah, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
A couple questions.
Okay.
I'm just gonna ask. I mean, that's what we do here, right? I ask you things, and because I'm an idiot and you're smarter than me.
I mean, sometimes. I am also sometimes an idiot.
Exactly. And sometimes we just ask the internet because we're both idiots.
Right.
So your video that you're doing,
yep.
Is it going to be this that we're looking at right now for 30 minutes?
What do you mean?
Like, or are you going to do fancy editing and B-roll and stuff?
I don't entirely know how to B-roll any of this. Because, like, yeah, I don't know. There's not going to be animation because I ain't got time for that. Like, I barely have time to write the scripts.
But there will be jizz music if you want it. I can make jizz music.
All right.
No, I mean, I am studied in the style, the genre of jizz music.
Okay.
Technically, are you.
I might do like some like MS Paint drawings. So maybe that could work, right?
That'd be fantastic. I wanted that style where it's like it's in Photoshop, but they just like make a circle around it, and then you see their mouse going out, and they're just like recording their screen. Do that. It'd be amazing.
I might just do that. Maybe I'll do that. That'd be good.
No, you know what you need to do? Oh my god.
I'm scared.
Please tell me your church has a felt board. Does your Sunday school have a felt board with little felt people and little felt animals?
We might.
My parents taught Sunday school when I was little, and we got to take that home, and I used to sit and play with the little felt people.
Actually saying I do have
Lego Christianity.
Right over here.
Yeah, the Brick Bible.
I have Lego Christianity.
Which is weird.
It's actually a pretty good Bible. Like, it's a surprisingly good Bible.
That's very strange that there's a Lego Bible and that we live in weird times.
Well, it's specifically not a Lego Bible. It's a brick Bible.
A brick Bible. Oh, because they would have gotten
They
would have gotten sued.
But it's just telling, like, basically it tells the basic story. Well, here, I'll show you. Don't choke me, thing. Oh, that's heavy.
That's huge.
Yeah, so we got
wow. It looks like
12 Testaments.
Graphic novel.
Yeah, actually. Let me find something good.
Is the women that like donkey dicks in there?
I don't know if that one is.
Is the bears killing the kids in
the
there?
Bears should be in here. Let me find the bears.
Nice.
Okay, that's
Lego Jesus, how may we serve you?
Sons of Jacob, Joseph. It's going to be after the Exodus.
How would you
Deuteronomy.
crucify him? He wouldn't even move that way. You have to
Judges.
crucify him sideways. Because he's...
Do they not have the bears? It's after Samuel.
Are Lego people technically living in a two-dimensional universe?
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Because they can't move. Well, I guess they can move in
David.
3 dimensions.
More David. Amnon. Joab. Solomon.
The arms pop off. That feels painful. Although I can't imagine in my head right now a Lego set of the tomb and those little round pieces that they always used for wheels.
Oh, yeah.
That being like rolling out of the way. I can see that.
Yeah, okay, so they don't have the bears.
Oh,
But
lame.
we do have
Do we have the angel raping?
that might be there. Let's back up a bit.
My nephew makes some pretty good stop action movies with his Legos. And that's like a thing that kids do now, which I think is dope AF.
That is awesome.
They made the Noah story to sell animal toys. T-pose Jesus. Floating through the sky.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. So here's that's the first of the page with Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh, wow.
And that's the second page.
Oh, that is a very vengeful old white man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of yellow, but yeah.
So even the Brick Bible is racist.
It's a little racist.
Jesus. I want the Revelations playset. Yeah. I want the Lego playset of Jesus when he comes back and he's like, oh, fire demon dude.
Let's see. Oh, there's burning in hell for all time.
Is there a Lego 7-headed dragon?
Actually, there probably is.
Lego Exodus. Yeah.
There's the lamb and the bear. There's the Whore of Babylon.
Leviathan and Behemoth. I want, are there like Cthulhu Lego sets? But not like Cthulhu. He's easy.
Okay, there's an eagle covered in eyes. Tails like scorpion. Where's the... Wait, is that... Oh, there... Okay, yeah, there we go. Lego 7-headed dragon.
Oh, wow. That's...
Yeah.
That is something.
That
is Caesar. No, Nero. Right?
No, the dragon's not Nero. The beast is Nero.
Oh, the dragon is not the beast.
Dragon is not the beast.
It's been a while since I've read. My camera just keeps sliding down. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. You could do it. I was playing around with trying to do like a live music thing. And now my camera's all funky.
I also found this at a bookstore. It's like Dr. Seuss fish.
That is fantastic. Which, by the way, I've been reposting some bangers on TikTok lately. The algorithm has been feeding me really good stuff. I think you can custom order Lego figures that actually look like you. Nice. Huh. I got a Johnny pop of himself, which is kind of weird. I should have got him a pop of me, right?
Yeah.
He probably likes himself more than me, right?
Maybe.
Or is that the ADHD talking? I haven't...
That's the anxiety talking.
That's fair. I had a whole brain fart the other day about what was it about? I almost posted it. I was like, no, we can talk about this on the thing.
And then you forgot about it.
I did. Hold on. Let me check my to-do app. Maybe my dumbass put it in there. If you call one of you voodoo. I got my my end of year voodoo thing where they talk about like, here's how many movies you bought and here's how much time you spent watching movies. I spent
That sounds depressing.
33 days.
33 days.
I spent a quarter of my life with voodoo playing in the background.
Dang, dude.
Or a twelfth of my entire existence. Last year, this last year. It hurts my brain to think that. Like, I've watched so many movies.
Where was I gonna look something up.
Where's my pastor list? Pastor pesterer. No,
What was I gonna look up?
there's nothing there.
I was fixing to Google. Oh yeah, now I remember. I was gonna check and see if my internet was behaving. Because sometimes you never know.
Sometimes you never know. So what have you been doing this last week? Like, what does your week look like right now? Mine's done.
Okay.
I got my bonus check and tapped the fuck out.
Nice. Okay, so the craziness really kind of started this past Sunday. So we kind of, as a church, we'll get a group together and we go Christmas caroling like the weekend before the Christmas shenanigans.
Which we talked about this a little bit on the Discord.
Yeah.
I have never like, that is a thing from movies for me. Like, that's not a thing in reality.
Now, and we're not going to like random people's houses, right? Like
Right.
we're going, we come up with a list. Our sewing group makes gift baskets for everybody. We kind of have a set criteria. There's like the folk who can't get out and do stuff.
Right.
There's the folk who have,
Like, that makes sense to me. It never made sense to me in movies. You'd see people knock on random people's door and they would just stand there.
so it's the folk in the congregation who can't get out, folk who have experienced a significant health event, like if they had cancer or,
Or they woke up that day.
yeah. Or folk who would experience loss in their family. Like if somebody in their family died, then they get a basket. And we always inevitably miss people, which is unfortunate, but like
that sucks.
we do what we can.
Which is super nice. That's super dope. I like that.
So we go to various like folk on those lists, houses, sing them some Christmas carols, drop off this gift basket for them. And it's basically a way to say, hey, we care about you.
Yeah.
And like
someone's thinking about you.
Yeah. Which, especially around this time of year, like if you've experienced loss or if you've experienced like, or if you just can't get out much, like it's nice to be able to do that for people. And circle homeless people and sing at them while throwing biscuits at their faces. Yes, that's exactly what we do.
And chanting, eat, eat.
And it's always fun because the folk really appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
Like especially the ones who are like they can't get out of their house without help. They really appreciate like seeing people that they haven't seen in a while come in and just.
I'd be fucking terrified. I would not know what to do.
And because we know that there are folk who would react like that. We also kind of curate the list. Like these are folk that should have an individual drop something off and not like a whole group of people.
I would be one of those people.
Yeah. But like, cause we know who we're talking about. Like it, and yeah, it's a whole thing. So that was, this past Sunday. On Wednesday, we did our like Blue Christmas service. So it's a way of recognizing that when someone has died, holidays are difficult.
Okay.
So it's basically a service which says it is okay to feel sad at Christmas.
Weird. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just something that like, it's one of those inside baseball things. Like I never would have thought that that's a thing.
It's a thing that funeral homes do a lot too.
Oh, weird.
Because, you get around holidays, it's when you're going to miss your loved one the most.
For sure.
And it's also when there's the highest expectations of just like acting like everything's normal.
Yeah.
So it's a chance for people to It's a chance to acknowledge that like loss happens.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
When the song ends, do you just shut the door and people walk off like a drug dealer? So
it is kind of like, how do you end, in my mind, like, how do you end it? Just walk away.
We actually sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" while walking away.
While backing away slowly.
Yeah. Oh, no. There's nothing snow about it. We're like, we got a schedule we got to keep. Like, it's 2 songs. How you doing? We're out of here.
Halfway down the block, yelling at them.
That also makes it less like intimidating to have like a group of 8 to 12 people just show up. Like if they're only going to be there for a minute, then it's
terrifying.
But yeah, so then this past Wednesday it was that service, and it really is good. Like the folk that go to it, we let them. It's basically creating space so that folk can acknowledge and mourn the loss of their loved one at this Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because that's important. Like we live in a culture that refuses to accept death.
Yeah, we really do.
And so by acknowledging it and like, yeah, death exists and it sucks, but we're here for each other.
Yeah.
So then after that, I've got in the morning on Sunday, the like regular Sunday service. Mm-hmm. And then in the evening, we've got Christmas Eve.
So you guys don't close up shop for Christmas? Come on, man. No, it's a holiday.
You still need to lock in like, so the Advent season, which is like the get ready for Christmas season, you still got to get the 4th Sunday of Advent in there. So you still do the morning service, and then because like that's the day, and then the evening service is Christmas Eve.
Hold on, we gotta back up a little bit because this is where this is the funny stuff, because it's like, I don't know, like I don't remember anything like that from my religion as a child.
In lower church settings, like the non-liturgical churches, they're not going to worry about that. They're just going to do like, it's Christmas Eve, we're just doing Christmas Eve.
Sounds so demeaning. In the lower churches.
It is. There's low church and high church. It's not meant to be demeaning. What it actually means is it sung or is it spoken? That's what it actually means, but it comes off as being super degrading.
Super degrading. It's super degrading. Holy cow.
So they're called high church and low church because like high church is sung in your high voice and low church is spoken in your low voice. But yes, again, it comes off as super demeaning.
Oh, it's weird.
So in like the non-liturgical churches.
Not up here where we sing church.
Yeah, exactly. So because Christmas Eve is really just a stand-in for Christmas Day, it functions as if it is happening on Christmas Day.
Oh, okay.
So originally, you were supposed to go to church on Christmas Day.
Right. I remember there being a midnight service at some point that was really important.
Yes. So the midnight mass in the Catholic Church, that was the workaround. So you'd go to church Christmas Day, but it felt like it was Christmas evening.
Gotcha.
So like it felt like Christmas Eve, and then like it just kind of started nudging its way earlier because nobody wants to go to church on Christmas. So Christmas Eve is really Christmas Day, but celebrated in the evening.
So dumb, dude.
Dude, it's all so messy. Yeah.
And it's all, okay, I just want to point out how ridiculous this is.
Yep.
So
I'm fully aware.
It is a holiday that exists because of this special point in this religion, right? You guys have this special thing that happened.
Yep.
Right? Your dude was born on this day, or
although honestly, but Christmas really isn't a big, like it's not. It's more culturally a big deal. It's not actually a big deal.
Wait a minute. You mean this is actually a capitalist holiday?
Yeah, pretty much.
I never would have guessed.
So do you know, actually, Do you know why Christmas Day is the day it is?
No.
It's not Yule. It's not solstice.
No.
It's because there was a stupid tradition that the day that someone died was the day they were conceived.
What?
And so the thinking was that Jesus died on March 25th. Fast forward 9 months, you get December 25th. It's dumb.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. What? I'm so fucking confused.
Yep.
So you have a
tradition.
You have a birthday. My birthday is June 9th. I was born on June 9th.
Well, but like, if you don't know, because back in the forever ago, and we're talking like,
I didn't know when I was born.
Between the 1st and 4th centuries, you didn't always know when people were born.
What? But I'm pretty sure I would have been there.
Well, right, but if someone's trying to figure it out 100 years later, and they didn't like exactly have records,
but you don't just.
So the thinking was, if a really important person died, they died on the day they were conceived, which is absolutely as idiotic as you think it is.
It's literally just like a way to throw a dart at a wall, right?
Yeah.
Like we have to come up with some fucking date. So how do we do it?
We have a pretty good idea when Jesus died.
So why wouldn't you just say? I don't know. That just seems weird to me. Like, why is it so arbitrary. Important to have a birthday anyway? Like,
well, because it wasn't. Like that's the thing. It wasn't actually important for him to have a birthday.
Yeah.
Until it became important for him to have a birthday.
And
then, just to top it off, the Puritans, who ruined everything in America, by the way, they banned Christmas because of how pagan it was.
Well, that's one of the things that I find hilarious is that, like, America turned Christmas into a worldwide holiday, right? It turned a Christian holiday into a market holiday, right?
And they have absolutely, like, Christmas has been celebrated for, like, well over a millennia.
Right.
Like, it's not something that is, like, new.
But like,
but it
Santa.
was Christ's mass.
But like Santa, the way we culturally think of Santa exists because of Coca-Cola in the 50s, right? Yeah. So like we turned this into what it is, right? Our country is founded by people who left because of religion getting turned in.
Actually, no. They left
because they
were trying to institute their religious government,
right?
And everyone hated them for it because they were the wrong religion, and so.
But their religion, like the fundamental part of their religion was that like these kind of things, like holidays like this becoming a thing, was misusing Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
This timeline makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Okay. Except it does if it's all about me.
Okay, so...
No, not, and I don't mean that like in specific, like me, but like when you view it as everything is based around the idea of individualism, it all does make sense.
No, you're right.
I do what I want and you do what I want.
Yeah. I am starting to brew a theory of why we exist, like what all of this is. And part of it is wrapped around this concept that we are in the act of experiencing something. All right. Go with me for a moment.
Okay. I'll put my listening headphones on.
It's gonna get weird, and I apologize.
I mean, it's not already.
I exist.
We were talking about the ways that we celebrate Christmas because of the day that Jesus died and a stupid tradition that nobody believes in anymore.
Okay, fair. So I know that I exist, and that I am experiencing whatever this experience is. I'm having a conversation with you. I don't actually have any proof that you are real. Right? And for you listening to me right now, you have no proof that I'm real or that any of this is real. Right?
I mean, once upon a time, we had some reasonable, like, there was a moment where there was reasonable certainty that we each thought the other person existed.
We have come to an agreement. Okay, as far as I am aware, and as far as you can prove, we have come to an agreement to trust that you and I are both real.
Okay.
Right? Because there is nothing that I can do to prove that I really exist to you.
Right. In this moment, like, short of driving 8 hours and like punching each other in the face.
I'm saying even beyond that, the idea that I am an entity that exists outside of your consciousness, that there is another consciousness inside of me.
Okay. Yeah. I got you there. Okay.
Right? You could be in a coma having all of this as a hallucination. Right?
Right. Okay.
This could be your video game, right?
there is a non-zero chance that I could wake up and I'll be Bob Newhart, and that one episode of his second show, which was a dream of the first show.
Yes. Or what is the guy?
Dallas.
No. I know where you're going, and yes, I understand. And yes, I was talking about the guy who, the philosopher, who's like, one day we're going to wake up and just be a lizard licking its own eye while it forgets the dream that it had of this stupid human existence, right? So, so we have come to this mutual agreement to believe that this isn't my reality. Right?
Okay.
I am agreeing with all of you that appear to exist as separate creatures, that you're experiencing me the same way. And that's how we're going to interact with one another. Because I could just start interacting with the world under the assumption that this is all in my head and none of you really exist, right? And I think we're getting too close to people falling into that because of the internet.
And I think that it is a problem made worse by the individualism that is inherent in the modernist systems.
For sure.
Because, like, for instance, I've lived in this house almost a year. I have seen one neighbor twice and the other neighbor not at all.
Right. Right. We joke all the time. Actually, Johnny talked to the neighbor lady. They moved in about a year ago. And we were joking one day about how they probably think only one person lives here. Because they only ever see me going in and out of the house.
Oh, right.
And like he went over and talked to her and was like, hey, I just want to let you know that I exist and I live here and I'm here in case you need like something throughout the day. Yeah. And she was like, no, the neighbors told us. Because they still own the house, they're renting it. They told them, hey, just so you know, there's a guy that lives in the house next door and he's there like 24/7. Yeah. It's just weird. It's just weird. Anyway.
No, like I really do think that this is so as a system, like everything is about the individual and everything that isn't the you individually is commodified, right?
Right.
Like I joke, you know, there's always somebody whose like reaction to any problem is, oh, I know a guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
And in some ways that is a joke. Like, but it also used to be like, especially if you live in higher poverty areas, you have to know a guy.
Right.
Because like, I need my oil changed. I can't afford to pay. I can't afford to pay the dealer to do it. Like, I know a guy.
Yeah. I mean, that is the hillbilly mentality, right?
Yeah.
Is like, we don't even go into and function and fuck with society because I know a guy.
Right. And this, because everything has become commodified, like, you don't know a guy that can fix your electrical in your house. You call an electrician. You don't, and some of that is practical. Like, you know that an electrician, at least like, if they're reputable, they have things like insurance.
Right.
And they're bonded and all of these things.
They have to have training to call themselves an electrician.
Like, there's going to be like some controls on it. And like, those are good and those are important. And it's also kind of like, this one book that I was reading, it was talking about like the difference between like when you get like a friend of yours to look at a cut and be like, hey, this doesn't look infected, does it? Versus when you need to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, there are definitely some things that like you can handle in a functioning community that we have lost.
Yeah. And I think I will say that there are parts of my family and that have ingrained in me a lot of that. I'm going to go through every possible thing that I can do before I involve anybody else. And a lot of that is like, I know a guy. I'm going to go do that before I go see a doctor.
And there's a lot of that really is affected by your early childhood income levels. So like, my parents were upper middle class. Mrs. Pastor's parents were lower middle class.
Right.
And so there's a lot of things where, just like in my family, if something breaks, you pay someone to fix it.
Right.
And I picked up on that.
Right.
Like, if the plumbing breaks, you call a plumber. Mm-hmm. But Mrs. Pastor grew up in a family that was like, no, if something breaks, you try to fix it yourself first and save some money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I find it interesting that if you look at how our society is currently structured,
Mrs. Pastor used to know a guy, and then we moved somewhere where we know no one.
Now you can't get anything done.
Now we can't get anything
Now
done.
You better hope you stay upper middle class.
Now we have a fantastic electrician who tells us who to call for everything else.
Right. I find it interesting that that level. Okay, really, you have a lower class, a middle class, and an upper class, right?
I mean, really, we have an upper class and a lower class, but we're not talking about that right now.
Okay. Our parents had an upper class, middle class, and a lower class, right? So we grew up in that middle where the squish is, because once you're below a certain income level, you stop paying for stuff because you can't pay for stuff.
Right.
But once you're above an income level, you stop paying for stuff because you know a guy.
Right, right.
So it's really that middle that's constantly getting the shit squeezed out of it.
Yeah.
But it's doing this. It's just down, 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 down. It's very odd.
Yeah. And yeah, that is really true.
I don't know. I totally lost track of where we were going. I don't know where we were.
I don't know where we were going either, but like, so I do think, to your point of like, the reason why, we don't assume, like, it feels like we're just like one consciousness in a sea of questions. Like, I think it is because on a total societal level, we don't connect to each other because we are so focused on our individualism that we don't we don't have community,
Yeah.
and I think we need that as humans.
It is interesting how much the idea of community has changed over our lifetimes, really.
Yeah. Well, and I can't tell you how angry I get when, like, there's all these folk, and it's almost always older folk, because of course it is, that are like, you can't have real community on the internet. And I'm like, I disagree.
I wholly disagree.
Like, because
some
I
people
think
can only have community on the internet.
Right. And I think it's, now there's definitely places, like, your average experience of social media is not where you're going to find community.
Right. No.
But I also, like, we have a community.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that we have a place on our Discord that is basically like, things are going bad for me, and I either just need to talk about it, or I just need to know that people care about me.
Yeah.
Like
we literally have a safe space, right? Like,
right.
It's a place where we don't fuck with each other.
Yeah, it's just like, this is a place, and I am struggling, and I either need to just get this out of my brain,
yeah,
or like, I need a little something that's not like from my community.
Yeah. And I genuinely don't have community outside of this. I have my house and the people in it and the people I interact with at work, and I would not consider that community.
Saying. But I think that, like, there is, the internet is absolutely, like, furthering the lack of community, though, because there are so many ways to get a false community.
Right.
Like, you think about the parasocial relationships with content creators, like,
right. Yeah.
You think about, like, there are places that, like, can make a lonely person feel less lonely, but that aren't going to be there, like, when you're in a ditch somewhere.
Right. And there's also communities that
prey on that, but
yeah, and communities that specifically are designed around the idea of catching people that are falling in that place and pushing them. Right. And it's usually a whole bunch of people who are all in that space pushing each other.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to see that and say, hey, there's nobody outside of that community to point out how it's getting off the rails from the beginning.
And I think that, like, there are ways, and I think we have created a community. And part of why I think our community works is, like, we don't tolerate people who don't care. I don't think I'm saying that right, but, like,
no, I know what you mean. There is a level of human interaction. It's walls for me. When I'm out at work or at the grocery store, there's different levels of padding that I put between me and the world, right? When I'm at the grocery store, it's at its fullest because I don't know anyone, I don't trust anyone. When I'm at work, it's smaller because I know people and I trust some people, but they're not my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets tighter and tighter, right? And as you get into those spaces, you have to know that it's a place to be safe, right?
Right.
And it's that kind of thing, like, I'm happy to see younger generations focusing more on this stuff and less on whatever the fuck our parents were doing.
Yeah. But there is still, like, And as nice as it is to have community on the internet, like a thing that we're running into is like, if we have to take an emergency trip, what are we going to do with our animals?
Right.
Like it's just even stuff like that, right? And that's what's really hard. Because I know that like any of y'all like would watch the animals,
but there's one problem.
Kind of far away.
Yeah, for sure. And Barlazy in Chow is mentioning smaller communities tend to be better at that. And some larger communities can keep that up. If you look at the one that blew me away is if you look at the community around the band Idols, it's very much this environment on a huge scale. And they're very vocal about that same kind of thing. They have set boundaries around what is acceptable in their community and what isn't. And there are more communities focusing on this kind of thing, opening this up and giving people that space. But we do lose the actual
Twitch channel
thing.
There's a Twitch channel that I was really involved in before Mrs. Pastor. They were doing like BattleTech streams.
It was an e-girl, wasn't it?
I kind of just kept like show up a little bit earlier and then join this other community.
Right.
But they all had ground rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and it was very clear, like, so one of the situations, like one of the things that was a ground rule was we don't talk about attributes of a person that they cannot control.
Yes.
So for instance, like, even if you're saying, oh, that girl's really hot, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Because like they can't control, like, that's not a thing that can be controlled. Like you can say, oh, I really like how you did your hair today.
Yeah.
Or like,
I like
awesome
your outfit
choice.
Yeah.
But like, that was one of the ground rules, and it kept things from getting toxic because everyone bought into that.
Right.
And as soon as someone was like, oh, they're really hot, like the whole community would shut that down.
Yeah.
And you would have opportunities to like, hey, I'm really stressed out about a job interview. Like, and even if it was just like, it actually, I don't know how to describe it as anything but like, it was a secular prayer request. It's like, hey, I'm stressed out about this job interview. And everyone was just like, hey, we're sharing that together.
Yeah.
Like,
we're going to give you good feedback.
We're wishing you well as you like are prepping for this. But it still doesn't fix the problem of there does need to be like those actual in-person communities to, for instance, watch the animals if you have to go out of town in an emergency.
Yeah. It's a lot harder to, the thing that is difficult to do on the internet in communities at any scale, but specifically it gets harder the larger a community gets, is keeping people out that have bad intentions. And that's so much easier in a physical place, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's easier to get someone out of a bar when you can just look at them and scare them. You know what I mean? Whereas the internet, everyone's a badass.
Yep. And even in that community that I was a part of, like, about a year after I kind of started to check out, both because that was when I was starting to get married to Mrs. Pastor, and like that occupied some time. But also just like I wasn't as connected to the storylines that they were doing. Mm-hmm. It turned out that one of the game masters was incredibly emotionally abusive towards the women in the group.
Of course.
And so like even when you have all those safeguards, things still do sneak through. But that's also just kind of, that's how any community works. Like,
It's hard though too, because I've been watching a lot of Nick Crowley's channel on YouTube. It's just kind of background noise, and he does a lot of like digging into like weird communities on the internet that are sketchy, or like, look at how this pedophile ring was gathering kids, and like he finds just interesting shit, right? But it's all fairly negative, and it sucks how easy it is for predatory people to function on the internet by taking advantage of people's need for community.
Yeah.
Because of this problem, right? Like, I think school shootings, I think a lot of stuff around our fault right now is that our parents were unable to teach us how to grow a community with the technology that they were handing us. Right.
Well, and you add to that, just, I mean, there are so many more reasons why people might find themselves without a community.
Yeah.
I have, because of who I am, I have a hard time connecting to any of the folk at the church. There are a couple.
Right.
But it's because in many and varied ways, I am very closeted at work.
Right.
It is hard to form real relationships there.
Yeah. Yeah. I I have a problem because of I'm learning the ADHD. It's a study recently came out, and one of the content creators that I follow is talking about how like an average 6-year-old, an average neuronormal 6-year-old.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. They'll receive like 10,000 pieces of negative comments by the time they're 6. Oh. Right? Of being told like, don't do that, that's bad.
Oh,
Neurodivergent kids get like 100,000. Like it's 10 times as negative.
All right, take it easy, Sang.
Bye, Sang. And sorry, it's like negative feedback. So we are put into a place where we become people pleasers. So we go into rooms and situations and communities and chameleon ourselves to become what the community wants. And the whole time not being able to be ourselves, doing all the masking shit. So yeah, that whole like not knowing community and feeling completely out of place every moment. Yeah, very aware.
Yeah, like
very aware of that one.
The whole masking thing, like that whole concept has been incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't know, like, because I function at a high level in a lot of situations, like nobody's going to give me a diagnosis of anything. Like I've talked to my therapist about like, I wonder if I'm autistic. And I was a little bit annoyed because their response was like, well, if you're wondering if you're autistic, you probably aren't. And I'm like, I don't think that's true anymore.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
But, like, I otherwise like my therapist, so I don't want to like change that situation unless I have to.
You're like I'm gonna let that one slide.
Yeah,
because damn it.
It's like I otherwise like you, and I think you're helpful. But like,
that's awfully close to crazy people don't know they're crazy though.
Right, but it's like. But it is hard because like the research around ADHD, autism, basically all of these like far more common than anyone thinks they are neurospiciness. Like I have been fidgeting with this all freaking show. Like it is a microphone clip.
I have multiple fidget toys sitting in front of me at any moment because I can't not.
Yeah. I realized my entire
welcome back.
My entire academic existence was like taking apart a pen and putting it back together.
Yeah. No. The only the only reason I became a decent artist was because it was the only way I could pay attention in school. I needed something to be doing with my hands.
I learned that like the act of writing something down, and my handwriting is atrocious. Like I can barely read my handwriting sometimes. But the act of writing it down made me pay attention to it.
Mm.
And I've noticed, and this is kind of fun, I've heard people say that like typing isn't as good as writing for writing things down.
Mm-hmm.
Typing works better for me because my fingers are moving.
Oh, that's fair.
So like when I'm taking notes, my fingers are doing something. So I'm fidgeting
right. Interesting.
by typing. So I have been sharing my notes with like the whole of my class because my notes are good because I'm writing everything down because I need to be doing something to pay attention.
Right. Interesting. I had never put that together before, but that actually makes a lot of sense as to why I can remember code stuff faster than I can anything else. Literally anything else. Because I'm fucking typing it.
Yep.
And I'm typing it over and over and over again.
Yep.
Interesting.
I think that's also why I do so good with a manuscript for my sermon, because I've given my sermon.
Right. I was actually just watching a video about how to handle being eloquent under pressure. And it was talking about Churchill. I think it was Churchill.
Okay.
And how he would talk through his teeth. Like if you asked him a question, he would sit and think about it, and you would see him doing this. And he was responding already once in his head, going through every word so that he could see if the sentence made sense before he started saying it, right?
Okay.
So that he wouldn't get halfway through the sentence and be like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. Right. And I'm like, interesting. That's like a weird way to like rough draft your thought.
What's so funny, like I know that I am perfectly capable, like the number of times that I have so a couple of months ago, we had some kids come, they had done a service mission trip to inner city Philadelphia. They went to a place with a lot of drug use, and just basically were like, we're nice to people.
Right. Thanks. Yeah.
It's amazing how effective just being nice to people is.
Yeah.
But like they came back because the church had supported one of the students on this mission trip, like they came back and just shared how it is, because that's what you do, right? Like you want to know what the thing that you supported did.
Yeah.
And like I overheard so Mrs. Pastor overheard the kids talking to each other, like, because they were so surprised that like my sermon fit with what they had talked about before. Well, it's like, and I told Mrs. Pastor, like, well, yeah, I scrapped it because what I was originally going to say didn't make any sense with what they were going to say.
Right.
And so like, I'm perfectly capable of winging it.
Right.
But I don't like to.
Yeah, it's not ever fun. It's never fun. It's like programming with someone watching. Like I can do really well, but you look at it and no. Yep. My hands will disconnect. All right, I need to go to the little boy's room.
Yes, that's a good idea.
We'll be back in a minute. While we're gone.
Let's see. Reaper's on a plane, and we got Barlazy here with us.
The Steam sale dropped today. The winter Steam sale. Does anyone have any video games that they're excited about right now? Because I'm not excited about anything.
I got it.
I'm still enjoying Starfield.
Okay.
It's just huge. It's so big.
I'm impatient for Homeworld 3.
That's fair.
That finally, like the pre-order finally happened for that. I was excited.
Hellworld? I don't know what that is.
I don't know Hellworld. I ain't gonna lie, I'm excited for like V Rising 1. I think that's gonna be fun.
That will be. I'm excited to kick a game off again.
Yeah.
That's not new though. Oh, yeah, I have a bunch of old stuff. All right, little boy's room.
Yes.
What is the next thing that you're super excited about? Movie, video game?
Oh, okay. I like that. What's
it's
the
Christmas, man.
thing
It's the
that you're excited about?
yeah. Like, what's your Christmas thing? What are you doing? What is your excitement right now?
Okay.
And
I like it.
we'll be back in a minute with less pee in our bodies.
Yes, hopefully.
Bye.
Assuming everything goes well.
This button. We're back. Hi.
Button?
Hello. Button.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm excited for Goat Simulator 3 to come to Steam.
I've actually heard really good things about it. I watched a video where they were talking about like why that video game exists. And that it was a coding thing, like it was a weekend coding challenge. And they literally they were like, please don't put money into this game, don't buy it, we don't want you to pay for it. It was an experiment and it just took off.
All right, Reaper's excited for a couple books. What books are you excited for, Reaper?
Yeah.
That's not specific enough. Barlazy is excited for Christmas dinner tomorrow night because working on actual Christmas.
Ooh.
Thumbs down.
Ooh, roast duck. English roasted. Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Oh, and those Brussels sprouts. I love like good Brussels sprouts.
Yes.
That sounds amazing, Barlazy.
Followed by mead, eggnog, and Christmas pudding. Jesus.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
That sounds like You're living in a movie that's having Christmas.
Mrs. Pastor's doing roast beef in the crock pot, which will turn into French dip sandwiches for leftovers.
I haven't had a good French dip in a long time.
Yeah, it's hard to get a good French dip out in the wild. And then the most important thing for Christmas is Christmas nachos, which are fast nachos with meat on them and whatever you can find so that you eat them before you have to go to work. That is Christmas nachos.
That sounds, I was like, what? How is this going to be a thing? But no, that makes perfect sense.
Yep, it is. We did it like the pandemic year for the first time, and then I've made Mrs. Pastor make Christmas nachos ever since because they're just like, they're fast. They make me feel better on the inside.
We used to always do all you can eat Chinese buffet on Christmas.
Ooh, yeah.
Us and the Jews.
So I'm excited. I'm hoping to use, like, I'm hoping to get enough Christmas money. And so far I'm doing pretty good. But I'm hoping I get enough Christmas money. I'm gonna finally pull the trigger on some actually like good studio monitors.
Yay!
It's time after like all these years mixing on these things. I don't know.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's time.
It is time.
So thanks to you, actually. I'm not getting the same ones that you have.
Okay.
So you've got the like 2 tiny speakers and the subwoofer, right?
Yes.
I think I'm gonna get the LP6s.
Oh, those were the ones I was gonna get. And then they released these and I was like, oh, fine.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really need the subwoofer.
Right.
But like, I really enjoy that when you look at their published frequency plot, they are flat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And they if you look online, the reviews for them are absolutely amazing. They're like, anyone you talk to in audio is like, no, these are hands down the best speakers for the money at this price point.
Yeah. So I think it's finally time to break down and get some actual studio monitors.
It's gonna change your life.
So I've already got my cart at B&H. I've got the 2 monitors and some stands for them. And they will just be my computer speakers.
Nice.
I do wonder if yours.
Oh, Indian takeout. Nice.
Okay.
That's another good one.
I love good. Like, we found a really good Indian place not too long ago. Like, I love Indian food.
There's a really nice one in town that I need to take Johnny to at some point.
Now, does yours? Oh, yours don't even like yours don't have the frequency plot. That's interesting.
You can change it, I think is why. There's toggles that actually completely change the watermark.
Okay. I'm actually wondering, like, because the LP6s have a weird dip at like maybe like 700.
That's weird.
And like I can throw a really tiny filter on there and take care of it, but like.
Ooh, Brazilian steak. Nice. I think my boss is trying to get me a gift card. Excuse me, a gift card for a Brazilian steakhouse. I've never been.
There's lots of meat.
My favorite. So much meat. So what have you been doing not work related?
Because the Homeworld 3 pre-order dropped, I actually just before dinner today, I finished replaying through all of the Homeworld games.
Wow.
That was fun.
Damn.
I just like there's something about that like I control a fleet of spaceships that's just fun.
I remember on the old 386 computer we had. I think we had the original Homeworld,
Nice.
like the old DOS thing.
Yeah.
And I never understood any of it. Could never figure it out. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It never made any sense to me.
It was one of the first games that I thought did like 3D combat really well.
Oh, interesting.
Because like it's an actual like 3D world. Like
Right.
there's the normal up, down, left, and right, but then there's also like all actual up and down.
I'm like legitimately there's not any video games or anything. Like there's nothing. The winter sale's going on. I'm looking to see like is there anything here that I'm super excited about? And
There's currently nothing on sale enough to make me want to buy it. Like there's nothing that I want that's on sale enough.
yeah. Let me see my wish list. Do I even have like System Shock's $25? Dune Spice Wars $25.
I've not played that one like in forever.
It's still in beta, right?
I think so.
It's like early access. SCP-5K. Oh, that's early access too. Starship Troopers.
Like I tried so hard. I haven't tried again recently, but like I tried to get into MechWarrior 5 and I always like I want to like that game so bad. I just get so bored.
It sucks, right? Like it sucks when you really oh, we lost Max Payne.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Discord. Like
the original voice actor. It sucks.
Maybe that's what I'll have to do over this break is just replay the Max's Pain.
I would just play the third one. Don't go back any further than that. You'll
you'll
ruin it to yourself. You'll ruin it for yourself, dude. I promise. It's so bad.
They're just a little constipated. Like,
dude, there's like 12 polygons in total in the first Max Payne movie.
Constipated.
You're not wrong.
Although, like, the comic book sections were so good, though.
They really were. They were so much. Those games were so much fun. But like Max graphics on it still looks awful.
Oh, yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, it's rough. Would it even run? I should look at that. Like, would Max Payne run 1 even run?
The last time I tried to play the first one, I couldn't because my mouse was so sensitive that just barely touching it would make him spin around in circles, and there was no way to adjust for it. Oh, Path of Exile 2 is on Reaper's radar. Flashback. Somebody playing Satyr's house on his computer. Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of games that I'm, like, waiting for the full release of. So, like, there's Grim Dawn is... It's a Diablo-like that has a new expansion coming out next year.
Is that the 40K thing?
No. It's its own thing.
There's a first person 40K game that's grim
that everyone's supposed to like
dank.
Is supposedly in love with.
Yeah. And I look at it and I'm like, I just can't tell if I would enjoy it or not.
I think the big problem with 40K is like it was meant the Imperium of Man was meant to be like anti-fascist, but everyone was like, no, but fascism is fun though.
Yeah, that's the
big problem with 40K.
That seems, yeah. You had mentioned in the Discord you're worried about 40K and
the 40K Amazon. I didn't know you Grim Dawn Reaper.
Grim Dawn is fun. Is it just like a first-person shooter in the 40K universe?
It's like Diablo. So it's like a third-person isometric.
Oh, Grim Dawn. I'm still mixing up Grim Dawn and Grim Dank.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Grim Dawn. That's the dude that looks like a Vampire Hunter D dude or something, right? They got like a big hat.
Yeah, big hat Raven.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it's just a grindy Diablo-y thing.
Yeah, it's just a grindy Diablo-y thing.
Okay. Ooh,
Where are you flying to, Reaper? I'm curious. I want to stalk your plane.
he's flying from California to California. Yeah, give us your plane number. That wouldn't go bad.
No, not at all. You can put it in Discord if you want, but I just want to stalk your flight.
I've had this weird thing in my elbow. I want to pull it off. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I'm excited to have a 4-day weekend. That's all I care about for Christmas. Johnny's been like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, I don't know. I just want 4 days off. I'm good.
Oh, he's flying to Sacramento. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to find his flight. Hold on.
Yeah, that'll be easy. If you just looked in chat right now, you would be able to find where he's flying from and where he's flying to.
Let's see. En route delayed.
Yep. That was it.
Yep. I found him. He is currently at 22,600 feet.
Weird.
And listening to us for some reason.
Did you pay for inboard Wi-Fi just to listen to us? Please say no. Please say you're doing something else functional with your Wi-Fi, because that's expensive to listen to our dumbasses talk.
There's another Diablo-like. Go for it, Barlazy. I like random questions that might make sense in the future. There's another like Diablo-like called Last Epic. I don't know if Reaper's played that one. But it also has like version 1 coming sometime in the next year.
For someone who doesn't like Diablo-like games, you play a lot of Diablo-like games.
I like to play through them and then like never play them again.
What are your 3 favorite colors?
Ooh, black, red, and light blue.
Ooh, I'm gonna say black, maroon, like that dark maroon color. I'm trying to think if I have any around me. I don't think so.
Honestly, you can see my favorite colors if you go to masculeaudio.com.
Masculine.
Because I think most of them are there.
Oh, here. I could probably dump that.
They might also be on pastorrico.com too, but
I only see 2 colors on Masco.
I guess there only are 2.
Black, red. Proudly powered by WordPress.
Yeah, that's just there. I never took that off.
Pastor Rico, this looks gray, bro. What are you talking about? Where's all your colors, man?
Where all? I don't know.
Yeah, black, maroon, and probably like a dark purple. I like dark purple. Or like a dark green, like a foresty green. $8. We're worth $8, Pastor. Did you know that?
$8. Wow. Okay.
That's crazy. That is more than I would have guessed.
That is definitely more than I would have.
We should sell now while it's high.
Yeah.
We can finally get out of this shit. All of this time. We can finally break even.
We're nowhere close to breaking even.
Dude, the whole podcast was just like it was just how much money can I spend on a weird hobby?
And it was absolutely a weird hobby.
This is just as weird. What are we doing?
This costs less though.
Does it?
Like we used to have to get like
storage fees. We had hosting
Blueberry.
fees. Yeah.
The fact that Blueberry existed.
God. Those were the ancient times.
Oh,
now it's just AWS. Everything is AWS. Does Blueberry still exist?
I don't know.
Surely not.
Blueberry. Oh gosh, it does.
Wow. Podcast hosting.
How much? Why would you even, when you can just go to Spotify, why would you even?
I mean, I think All will be revealed in your next gift boxes.
Because I never actually like check my PO box. Do just send us a note. Send me a note on the Discord to know when to expect something.
Interesting. I'm very shocked that Blueberry has managed to stay in business.
Yeah.
Like just with, I get it. They have a lot of interesting plugins.
He did send $100 for bunker episodes when he joked about it.
You did. You did.
I have that. That's right there.
Yeah, I've got one back right there. Look at that. There's only 3 of those in existence.
It's right in front of the other thing that Reaper made. The other half of which is right there.
Weird.
While I am still living on this part of the country, like we're gonna have to get in the same, like you and I will have to be in the same room again, just so that those 2 paintings can be in the same room again. That's
very true. That is very true. Wait, what year is on it? Is it? Because I've got the 20. So what's yours?
200.
Is it? Oh, is it 200?
I think it's 200.
Okay. I still remember the shock look on your faces.
I did not expect to get an actual painting.
No, not even remotely. And that's not even my only piece of Reaper art. I have multiple pieces of Reaper art now.
Dude, my entire logo for Pastor Recall's Parish is Reaper art.
That is fair.
I actually reached out to him and said, "Hey, draw me a thing."
You interacted with him on purpose.
On purpose?
You
even tried to make me not pay him, and I'm like, "No, dude, I'm too."
The more you want me to not pay, the more money I'm sending you. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm gonna do this weekend. I'm gonna work on that thing.
Nice.
I genuinely don't know. So one thing that I find interesting that it made me notice is whenever I start songs, I default to not happy music. I don't understand happy music.
Okay.
Like I avoid major keys like the plague. Avoid major chords like the plague.
Fair enough.
Like I use them to solidify a thought if I have to. But I try to it's just not sounds that I like. And hymns are, for the most part, technically all in happy places. Musically.
Actually, one of the ones I sent you wasn't.
Really?
The other one was.
The one I'm working on is definitely. So,
all creatures of our God and King, absolutely, very major. Okama Koma Manual, not so much.
I'm gonna make it a funk, a funk.
Okay.
Just so it sounds like pornography.
All right.
No, I'm genuinely interested. I don't think that what I'm making is going to end up being usable for anything. If I'm being completely honest.
All right.
I need to hear it again. I did the thing where I'm spacing myself because it was chaotic and
and that's important. You take with the stuff I did, taking a day away and then going back to it, that fixed a lot of the things that were going squirrely in there.
Yeah. It's always interesting too, because you can, once you've heard your ears get tired, you can hear other people compensating for tired ears. It's like, whoo, that's hot.
And I knew, I think even when I posted, I'm like, I've been listening to this for so long that I'm making bad decisions.
It's funny because both of the pieces of audio that I posted to the Discord, I knew weren't going to work the second I hit upload. I was unsure until the moment I hit that upload button, and I was like, yep, that's trash.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because when you do take a minute and step back, it's when you come back to it, you're like, oh, The reason why I put so much reverb in this is because what I actually needed was a bass line.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Mrs. Pastor.
Uh-oh. She's bringing more bread.
No, I'm not sure what she's doing, actually. I'm looking at my phone. Oh, what did Satyr have to say about the distance to Canada?
Oh, God.
So he decided, so that when confronted, his justification was...
I was drunk and an idiot.
First, I was drunk and an idiot. Oh, hi, kitten. I was wondering what was making that noise. It was the cat.
Aw.
I've got bags up here in which to put Mrs. Pastor's Christmas present, and the cat is playing in them.
Aw.
Well, he was. Now I don't know where he's gone. So Satyr's response was basically, if you count the number of people between us and Canada, then we were closer to Canada than him.
Yes.
She's giving you a hard thumbs down, and the cat is biting her hand in response.
See, the cat's on my side.
Oh. I don't know if that came through, but she told the cat to not take your side.
I mean, see, I get along. I get along with the cats. What can I say? It's because I treat them right. I get them little fuzzy chairs all for themselves to sleep in.
I tried to get him to sit in this wonderful box, which was the last gift box that Barlazy sent, but he's not interested.
You need to put the flaps up on it.
No, maybe that's it.
Yeah, so he can crawl up into it and hide.
Honestly, like, his very favorite thing is a literal box of literal trash. It's all like packaging paper from packages that we've gotten.
Yeah.
That he just makes a little nest out of.
That sounds like heaven for a cat.
He is a trash cat.
Yes. All cats are trash cats.
Yeah.
Every single one.
I don't know if I can actually make this happen, but like, I need to.
Because I'm. Aw.
Like.
Aw.
I just. That is what this creature is doing right now.
That is an amazing cat. That's fantastic.
He's such a mutant.
I've only ever seen one other cat do that. And it was my Siamese you could hold upside down. She didn't care.
Oh, he loves being upside down.
Oh,
like,
weird.
Just, he'll stretch out, like, and like just keep stretching anytime he's turned upside down.
Yeah. That is a cat, sir. That is a cat's cat. That is a troublemaker.
Oh, he is such a menace. I have like, well, Mrs. Pastor has like bite marks all up and down her arms.
Of course.
I have like
from Australia.
Yesterday, he bit me in the same place that he bit me the other day, and like reopened the scab. Got the taste of blood in him. He's such a beautiful jerk.
If they chew on you, that's their love language.
Yeah, I know, but it's annoying.
They're just tiny, sharp masochists.
At least he's lost his kitten teeth.
Kitten teeth are the devil.
Kitten teeth are they're so pointy.
And puppy teeth. Puppy teeth are awful.
Yeah.
No animal, no canine should have teeth that sharp. It's an improbability.
Yeah.
And cats, they don't have teeth when they're kittens. They have syringes in their mouths.
They are filled with stilettos. Tiny stilettos.
Shink, shink.
Yep.
The heels or the blades? Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Steam is just letting me know that video games are on sale.
Oh,
dope. Thank you so much, Steam, for letting me know the thing that I already knew. I find it... Yeah, I can't talk about that. Damn it.
Wait, what?
Nothing. Don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
I
have questions.
I may have some news soon.
Oh.
But I can't talk about it yet.
Okay.
I'm working on a really cool piece of art.
Oh.
That I'm not going to show anyone until it's done.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And it's the first thing I actually don't want to know what anyone's reaction to it is.
Okay.
I'm terrified of anyone seeing it, so that's probably good, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's a good start.
That's what you're supposed to do is be like,
be terrified of your art, and
you're supposed to bare your soul or whatever, or like, I don't know, show parts of yourself that you don't want other people to see, right?
No, that's just that's just what you put your underwear in.
Okay. So dick pics aren't art. Okay.
Right? Yeah. No, I don't think so.
I'm gonna have to readjust my weekend.
Might start playing
Warframe
again.
Warframe is fun. Have you ever played Warframe?
I've never played Warframe.
It was a lot of fun. It was cool to hang out with Sang too. It's been fun.
Oh.
It was fun to play with Sang in a world. In a world.
In a world.
It was cool though because there's like snowboards. There's like robo snowboards.
Oh.
And
okay.
stuff, and ships and stuff.
I think like that might be like what I'm most excited for when V Rising drops again. Like, is just being able to enjoy the game together again.
Yeah.
But like also knowing what we're doing this time.
Yeah, and yeah. That will be fun to know, like, yeah, what we have to do and not be banging our heads against it.
And to actually like put our base in a sensible location.
You did buy my art.
Oh, nice.
I fooled you. As we're both wearing.
As we're both wearing your art.
That's really the whole reason we're all here. Is just so
I can't tell you how often I will wear this out, and people were like, "Dude, where did you get it?" Like, well, you can't get it now.
That's what I should do this weekend: is get my store back up and running. I keep wanting to do it because I have ideas for new stuff. It's just a pain.
I went through a couple days ago and like kind of actually like did a little bit of cleanup work on pastorrico.com because I'm gonna post the scripts of the videos, have them go up the same time that the video does.
Smart.
For those that might be helpful for.
You have your art on my wall? Losers.
At least to get the same reaction with Satyrs anyways. Well, speaking of more art that I have of Satyrs, there's Mrs. Pastor has Scree on her laptop.
Oh, nice. I have the only Scree in my life right now is I had one on my iPad and it fell off at work. Oh, so no. I stuck it to the wall right next to my desk. And it's just, there's a Scree on the window next to my desk.
Nice. Izzy, what are you doing? Did you just do a lap of the entire upstairs?
Hell yeah. That is an animal that pooped. That is a post-poop run.
Oh, actually, it is time for her evening poop.
Yep.
We had to get her. So when she's the only animal in the house, she's a grazer, right? Like, yeah. She just kind of like munch, and then goes about her business. But as soon as there's another animal in the house, she goes snarf.
Really?
And the next thing you know, there's no food in her thing.
That's an interesting question. How do you feed your animals?
So they get fed at the same time. The cat absolutely just grazes. Like, he just has food, and especially because he's a kitten, like, he needs to be eaten.
Like, for dinner? Oh, eating. Okay.
Eating.
Genova, we're shaking.
So he always has food, and then at dinner time, he gets like a saucer of chicken broth. Well, turkey broth at the moment.
Oh,
so
fancy.
Mrs. Pastor has started rendering down the carcasses of anything that we get because we have an Instant Pot and it's really easy.
Oh.
So you render down all of the carcass and you get a whole bunch of broth afterwards. And it's not like seasoned with anything, so we can give it to the animals. Oh. So he gets a saucer of chicken broth, and then that happens at the same time that she gets dinner. But because she snarfs her food, we had to get her like an insert for her bowl to slow her down. Because she ate too fast.
Okay.
Because as long as, like, for her entire life, if there is another animal in her vicinity, she will snarf all of her food.
It's just weird. Okay.
so this slows her down, but then like she licks at it because it tastes like her food. And then because she licks and licking helps dogs' digestion, after dinner, she always has to poop.
I mean, that's fair. That sounds like a healthy cycle to me.
It's not bad.
It's interesting to me because, like, growing up, the dogs that I was around got fed at very specific times. And because of that, the minute that the food hit the bowl, it was gone. Right?
Yeah. And that's how she is when there is another animal in the house.
Yeah. But like me and Johnny have never done that with our animals. There's just always food. Because in our minds, like if they were wild, out in the wild, they would eat whenever they were hungry. So why should I tell them when they can and can't eat? That's weird of me to demand that of them. Right?
And that's our preference.
Yeah.
Is to just have food available.
Well, and that's the weird thing is that like none of our animals are weird about food. Like none of them panic eat food like that. They just, all of them will go have like 2 bites and then wander on.
Yeah. And the dog is just like weirdly protective of her food.
Yeah, it's fair. Dogs
and
can be that
like
way.
she may have been the runt of the litter. So like that's probably where she gets it from.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, I will say our dog used to like, he wouldn't eat when the other animals were around him, but he would like, if one of the cats got near him while he was eating, he would make sure that they knew that that was not an incorrect, correct thing to be doing with their time.
Yes, Reaper, if you keep licking the plate after dinner, you will also have to poop.
Yes. Do you use your Instapot a lot?
We use it a lot more than we used to. Now that like, so Mrs. Pastor is the one that does all the cooking, because I am kind of useless in the kitchen. Like for large meals, I get banished to like a different floor of the house because I'm just in the way.
That's fair.
I
understand that mentality.
Yeah. When we first got the Instant Pot, she didn't know quite how to use it. But as she's gotten used to it, like it makes rice perfect. If we're hard boiling eggs, it does them perfect.
Really?
Like now that she's figured out like what the trick is, I guess. Like we had chickpeas the other night that she did in the Instant Pot, and they turned out really good.
See, I keep thinking about getting one, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell. We don't have space for stuff, and I don't know if it would be worth it, you know?
Our next like weird appliance purchase, I think, is going to be a toaster oven air fryer combo. Well, because we have like we got a cheap toaster oven because we wanted a toaster oven, but we didn't want to like spend money on one until we knew like if we were going to use it.
Right.
And then we also wanted to try an Instant Pot, an air fryer. And like there are definitely things that cook really well in an air fryer.
Right. I mean, aren't air fryers just little convection ovens?
Yes, that's exactly what they are. They're little convection ovens. So they make them that like are toaster ovens and mini convection ovens.
Right.
So we want to like spend more money now that we know we use both of them and get like a good thing that does both, and then it eliminates counter space.
Right. Yeah.
What's really nice, our air fryer has a dehydrate feature, which is basically just drops the temperature down. It was great for making stuffing.
Ooh, interesting.
You just cut up the bread and throw it in the thing and put it on dehydrate, and it dries it all out.
My parents used to have like a dehydrator.
Yeah.
Like, that they had bought off the TV in the middle of the night or some shit.
Nice.
But like they would go buy steak and just soak it in bags in like teriyaki sauce, and then throw it in the dehydrator and make beef jerky. And they're like, oh yeah, it costs about 1/10 of the price of going to the store and buying it, and all you have to do is like spend 20 minutes putting it together. I was like, oh yeah. So there was always jerky in our house growing up.
One of our friends back in Utah they had gotten a dehydrator, and they did dehydrated Skittles one year.
Mm.
Which those were good. They were like
there's a TikTok channel, and they like air fry stuff like that, like Skittles and like all sorts of and they like puff like popcorn sort of. It's weird.
Nice.
It's very strange. A soup in an Instant Pot. See, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, and our Instant Pot, like, I don't think it also functions as a crock pot, but some of them do.
Oh, gotcha. Crock pot would be nice.
Oh, we love our crock pot.
That's another thing that, like, I would buy if I had counter space, but, like, we don't have space for anything.
Oh.
And I don't think I would use it enough that it would justify taking up that much space.
Well, see, the nice thing about the crock pot, it's like, you start, the way you eat, you start something when you get home from work, and then it's done when you're ready for dinner.
Right.
Normal people start it before they go to work, and then it's done when they come home.
Not normal. I thought we've already known this, man.
Yeah, we do. We definitely know that you are not normal.
Speaking of, I'm hopefully going to make some soup this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Just looked at soup. I don't know what else we have, man.
I don't know either.
Like, it's just I knew I wanted to get on here and talk to you.
Yep, and it's been good.
Yeah, I
kind of want to like wait until Reaper like lands. I feel like that's
oh yeah, because he did pay, right?
Because he
I
paid
feel
$8
bad
for us. I feel like we need to at least stick it out until he lands.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
right.
since I have his flight, like I'm watching him, he's about halfway there now.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
all
got.
Right, we can do this.
So supposedly he's got 49 minutes left on his flight.
So it's really probably like an hour.
No, once you're in the air, you're pretty much guaranteed to get there when you're supposed to.
That's true. You just might not be off the plane for.
Well, yeah.
So do we have to wait till he's off the plane? Well, they turn the Wi-Fi off, right?
Once he gets to like 10,000 feet, yeah, they'll turn the Wi-Fi off.
Cool. So, and you'll be able to tell when he hits 10,000 feet.
Yeah, I'll be able to tell as soon as he won't be able to listen to us anymore. Like, I'll know.
Oh, dope. He's just ignoring us. He stopped listening to us 20 minutes ago.
Hopefully I'll
Oh, but no, you have great questions,
yeah,
actually.
I really hope, Barlazy, that you'll like this new format. Because it's
excited.
not like it's not going to be like just me giving a slightly different sermon. Like it's going to be a whole different kind of content than what I've done before.
I'm stoked.
I had joked for a while about writing my own systematic theology, and now I'm accidentally doing it. So
Don't tell Pastor.
Of course
we're sneaking this by him. He doesn't know.
I know. Now, of course, none of it is cited the way that you'd have to do it for like a real work.
Right. You can leave that for interns later.
Right.
You go find citations for this shit.
All I need to do, I need to get like a professor job somewhere and then get my TAs to do it.
Yeah. You're already almost a doctor, right?
I am almost a doctor. I'm closer to being a doctor than I am to not.
Right.
Speaking of,
oh yeah. Okay. So when that happens, as a quick aside, once you get your doctorate, you can just like go to a college and say, "Where's my office?" Right? That's how that works.
So not really. So I'm getting a professional doctorate, not a theoretical doctorate.
Literally. Okay.
So
a theoretical
PhD,
doctorate's more important?
Well, they're different.
Okay.
So a PhD is the like theoretical kind. And that's the one that's basically like, here is everything that has ever been said on this topic, why they're wrong, and why my idea is right. Because with a PhD, you have to add to the body of knowledge. Like, so you have to do something that no one has ever done before.
And that's the theoretical.
That's the theoretical kind.
Okay.
Now, I'm getting a professional doctorate, which is still a doctorate. Like it's still all the same. It's basically like more classwork, but less final project. So like
Okay.
I do an extra year of coursework, but the PhD students have like an extra 30 pages that they have to write at the end.
Okay.
So, with mine, I just have to do something that's research. So like, what I was thinking about doing was, interviewing folk who had recently come back to church after, or had like joined a church and never had been part of a church before. And just to find out their story, like, how did you get to this place?
Right.
But I'm more interested now in trying to find people who like grew up in a church environment and now are just like, I don't care.
I know a couple.
Right. Like, and I know through this community, like there are certainly folk that are kind of in that boat.
Yeah.
And so like the research design for that is going to be more interesting. And I think the results are going to be more interesting because I'm aiming at a group of people who are not well studied in academia at the moment, from what I can tell.
Really?
It's just like, it's a category that, like, the category itself has really only been around for about 20 years.
Okay.
In academic literature.
That's interesting to me.
But it kind of like, because it's not like the spiritual but not religious that everyone talks about. Like everyone talks about I'm the spiritual but not religious.
Right.
But this is like kind of realizing that the average person, their life is not at all affected by whether or not there is a God.
Yeah.
It just does not matter.
Yeah. I still have to get up and go to work tomorrow. What the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
You know
Like,
what I mean?
Because
Yeah.
there's certainly folk who are like, it matters deeply to them that there is not a God.
Oh, for sure.
And there's
Yeah.
certainly folk who are like, it matters deeply to them that there is a God.
Yeah.
Um,
The
but
funny
this-
thing is, I feel like as someone who falls into that category of someone who doesn't really care one way or the other anymore, it is interesting because I've been on all of those sides.
Right.
Like I've hit all of those corners before getting here.
and that's what makes that so interesting, because I want to know, like, how do you land there? Is it just like, because I imagine for some folk it's going to be kind of a, well, I just kind of stopped going to church.
Yeah.
But other folk would probably have more interesting stories. My gut guess is that for most people it's just like, oh yeah, I went to church as a kid and then I just kind of stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I need to talk, like, I need to talk to my like advisor and be like, hey, is this something that would work?
Mm-hmm.
And then like, how would I even like go about getting a sample to do research on for this?
Yeah. How many people would you need?
That's part of it, is like, that's the question. Like, how many people would I need to get like a representative sample? Because I don't want to just be like, I don't want to go to like people that I knew like when I was in high school that I know don't go to church and be like, hey, can I interview you for this thing about why you don't go to church?
That would be really weird, right?
Right.
And it's hard too because by its very definition, there's not a community around it.
Right. Because by definition, and I don't want to go to like,
Oh, wow. I once ripped out a tooth to get out of
dang.
church in 5th grade.
Okay.
That's insane.
so I wouldn't want to like, you can't go to like r/atheist, right? Because they're going to be the ones who are super invested in there not being a God.
Yeah. How do you find people who literally don't care about a subject?
There's part of me that's also like, wouldn't that be the Sunday afternoon crowd at the bar that I'm at every Sunday afternoon?
For sure. Well,
Like,
yeah, close. Like, you're going to have a much higher percentage there than you are anywhere else.
right.
Although you're probably
Like,
going to be slipping closer into people who are actively against.
but
Right.
not necessarily. Like, there's far fewer people who are like actively against than you'd think there are.
You know what you need to do? You need to go out on the town on a Saturday night. Those are the people who don't give a fuck.
Well, right.
No, for real.
Yeah,
Like,
because they don't have to wake up in the morning.
yeah, you're not going to find, like, one way or the other, that cuts out one big chunk of the community that you don't have to worry about anymore.
Yeah.
Because the churchgoers ain't there.
Yeah, so I just need to work with my advisor on this to figure out, like, okay, how can I, like, one, is this going to work? Like, does this fit with the degree requirements?
Yeah.
Which I don't see why it wouldn't. And no, they're actually one way to find out.
I'm going to guess that there's probably not a very active community.
Yeah, there's not. I had to check.
I think it's hilarious that there's not.
But it makes perfect sense though,
No, it
right?
does. It does. It's just one of those places, like, it's one of those holes where
No,
you
I
think
have found,
everything
like,
exists, but no, there's a community that specifically does not exist.
I have found like 8 or so academic articles about this. So it at least gives me a starting point. Like, so when I'm presenting my thing, I'm like, this is the group of people that I'm talking about. I can say, and other people have talked about this. Like, this isn't something that's coming out of the blue. This is something that is relatively new that people are talking about.
Yeah.
And like, it would be a great opportunity to like email some of the folk that are talking about it and be like, hey, I'm working on my doctorate. Like, are there some resource? Like, there are options for this, because the academic community is actually like super open to things as long as you're not going to actively compete with them at some point.
Right. I have thought of a community. I know where you can go to get a higher percentage of people who are apathetic to religion than anywhere else. The punk community.
I would think the punks would tend towards the anti.
Not so much anymore, I don't think.
Really?
20
think
years
that
ago,
is-
100%.
Yeah. Okay, and that's when I was around the scene, was 20 years ago.
Like our age punks, for sure, were unpacking religion culturally. And I do think that there's still there is still a lot of that going on, right? Like, subculture in general is catching a lot of people who are unraveling their religious trauma.
Because one of the things that is coming up that I'm noticing, like, from a church perspective, but also just in general, like, Gen Z, for the most part, they have no connection to church because their parents are the ones that bailed.
Mm-hmm.
So they just don't, like, God, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, there might be like some vague understanding of an entity that is doing stuff, but it doesn't affect their daily life. And those are the folk that I want to, like, hear their story.
That is interesting.
And it's a cool thing that, like, that is a valid research that I can do, is just listen to people's stories and see if there are, like, common threads in these people's stories.
Interesting.
Because I'm just, it actually has a name. It's called narrative inquiry.
Okay, so that's the doctorate direction you're going.
That's where I'm leaning towards so far. Now, will that change in 6 months? Maybe, but it's like, it's one of the most interesting things that I've come up with because nobody else is looking at it.
I think, I think you may have a diamond in there, because if you think about it, if there is a community that your people need to figure out how to talk to, it's that one. Because right now, you guys are trained to talk to us or not even me so much anymore, but
we are trying. The ways that we have been taught to do evangelism are interacting with pre-Christian or anti-Christian folk, but mostly pre-Christian folk. We do not have a paradigm for interacting with post-Christian folk.
Yeah.
But yeah, once it's done, like I will post it somewhere. Like it will be an unpleasant read. Because it's going to be written in academic language.
Right.
Like it might, depending on how motivated I am and if like people who will spend money for it are interested, like it might turn into like a self-published thing on Amazon, but it would take a lot of work to like translate from academic to real world.
I know someone who could help. His name's Bard.
Oh, well, right.
I mean, I joke, but I could help you spin up an AI that would do that.
Oh, no, yeah. Like, but that's, I mean, I'll definitely post it for y'all, but I'm just telling you, it will not be like a pleasant read. Is there
a way for you to take the because speaking of high church and low church, so this is like low doctorates, right? And then the high doctorates, the other side.
Yeah, in it. But again, they're all still a doctorate at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
But is there a way for you to take this and transfer it into that?
So it doesn't really like transfer, but like for instance, Reaper could help. Yeah, that'd go well.
Into what?
So the current president of the seminary at which I am getting my doctorate has the same kind of doctorate that I am getting.
Oh, interesting.
So so
it's not like a tier system.
No.
Okay.
There is a certain like snootiness, but generally like PhDs are thought of as the academic track. Professional doctorates are thought of as the like you were actually doing work out there, but like half of my professors when I was in seminary had a professional doctorate, and like they were better at it than the folk with the academic ones because they actually like knew what the real world was like.
Interesting.
PhDs tend to not know that.
Well, your two book recommendations to me were somewhat unpleasant to read, but I feel better and more informed for reading them. So no worries. I have an interesting question for you.
Okay.
About that. About things that feel unpleasant. This piece of art that I'm working on is
I'm scared.
It's designed to make people feel unpleasant. Like that's its intended purpose is to make people uncomfortable.
Okay.
And I guess I started realizing while working on it for 100 hours or whatever I've got into it so far, that to me is a really important thing about art. For something to be truly considered art, it has to make you uncomfortable in some way.
So first I should say, I don't mean unpleasant in the sense that it will make you uncomfortable. I mean unpleasant in the sense that like
it's going to be
it will
hard,
be very dry and it's going to read like an 80-page term paper.
Right. No, my brain just took that word and ran the other direction with it. Yeah.
That and I think so. It's going to be unpleasant from it is not going to be a fun reading experience, even though the content might be
fun,
interesting to read.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand that vibe.
Yeah. I do. On the other sense, like there is, I think part of good art's job is it makes a person uncomfortable about something.
Right. Yeah. It was interesting because...
Thanks, Barlazy.
Ooh, that sounds like a challenge, sir. Coming up next, Pastor's going to write a 10,000-page essay on...
You should see some of the universes that Satyr and I came up with when we were hammered.
Those are still floating around somewhere.
Some of the, yeah, they're still in my Google Drive. I still think there was something to Pegasus Bridal. I wish we could.
I still think we could do video games.
Yeah,
I think the whole
something with that.
Anyway.
So I think about like Barbie,
Yes.
for instance.
Yeah.
That is a movie that is enjoyable, but like it's meant to make you uncomfortable because it's pointing out something in the real world through the art.
Which is part of the reason why it's funny that guys were actively being vocal about not liking it. Mm-hmm. Because those are the people that it would make uncomfortable, are the ones who have anyway. Yeah.
I think of Star Trek is generally has been a historically good example about making the right kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that has not. Next Gen has aged like milk because what made people uncomfortable in the 90s is definitely not the same as what makes people uncomfortable today.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with all science fiction, especially good science fiction. Like, it tends to age badly.
It's the problem with anything that's pushing people in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
Because it's those tiny little pushes forward are going to look awful from looking back on it.
Well, and I think that gets at your reaction to, which I totally understand, to the Catholic Church saying we can bless same-sex unions as long as they don't look anything like a marriage at all.
Yeah.
Because like I understand why that feels like they're just slapping you in the face.
It just is laughable.
Like, you may as well have done nothing.
Yeah.
But like when for them that is a big step.
Right.
It's just not a big step anywhere else.
Here's the thing. Here's a perfect translation of it. Boomers on a Sunday after church usually go to a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Those boomers will eat and they will tip.
Badly.
Here's the thing. At what point does a bad tip become an insult? Right? Because we know that there is a line at which there is a point of money where you can give a server where it is an insult to them on purpose. Right?
I can tell you, there have been times like if I've bought.
I was gonna let it slide.
If I purchase like a couple 6-packs with my beer after Sunday,
yes,
there have been times when I have said to my bartender, like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm tipping you right. Like, please don't be offended if I tip you wrong." And he always says, no, I know, like, I know how you tip. Like, don't worry about it.
Right. Well, and like that's...
Because, like, for me, if I tip below 15%, that is an insult.
Right. Yeah. For sure. And here's the thing,
I tip like 20 to 30 on the regular.
I know for a fact that there are boomers who go to places and tip what they think is a good tip, and the server thinks it's an insult, right? Because where that line is different. And this is the exact same thing. What they think is
my parents absolutely think that a 15% tip is a good tip.
Right. And the Catholic Church absolutely thinks that blessing same-sex marriages.
Yep. Reaper's coming up on 10,000 feet, so we might lose him.
Nice. Well, it's been a fun stream, y'all. No. But like the Catholic Church saying, okay, we can bless same-sex marriages as long as they don't look anything like a marriage is the insulting tip, right? Yeah. My bar is at a point.
When you're coming from, it is a mortal sin and keeps you out of heaven forever to do this, and is now, well, I guess it's not that bad.
Right. It seems like a really big deal for you, but everyone else in the restaurant is looking at you like a boomer.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm at.
You just tipped 15% thinking you did a good thing, when everyone else is like, that's not really what you do anymore.
Yeah, and like the fact that you think that's what you do is kind of insulting in itself, right? Like the fact that you are so out of touch with reality that you think that 15% is still good is in itself an insult.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the folk who go through the math of like taking out the tip, that they are taking out the tax. Oh my gosh, I forgot about those people.
Yeah.
This is okay. So this is
so bad.
There is a thing, and it's so depressing that this is even a debate in like certain Christian circles, and it just makes me mad. And people are like, well, do you give 10% on your gross income or your net income? And it's just, I'm just like,
it's so pedantic, it's insulting.
Yeah.
It's so pedantic, it's insulting. Yeah. Like, come on.
Because, like, if you can afford to have that discussion,
you're already.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why saying, hey, we can bless these things as long as it doesn't look anything like a marriage is just irrelevant to me.
Yeah, because it is an institution for which their level of insult is so much farther back.
Yeah. And it's just it sucks. I was telling you this in the Discord. I had one of my coworkers talking to me about the Pope. Oddly enough, the day that we were doing that.
Oh yeah.
Earlier in the day, he was talking about the Pope for some reason and talking about how this Pope is so progressive. And I kept my mouth shut and I bit my tongue as hard as I could.
The Pope is a progressive, like Joe Biden is a progressive.
Yeah, exactly. Like
for a Catholic,
sure,
he is progressive.
But you're still part of this thing that's already disgusting.
Like for a Republican, Joe Biden is progressive.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Did you see what he did today, though? All right, I'm just going to throw out there.
What did he do today?
I got to give him some props. His Christmas thing.
Oh, okay.
He got kicked out everyone who has a federal marijuana charge for use or something else.
Oh.
So basically, like, wiped a whole bunch of people's records clean today.
Nice.
Which is dope because that helps a ton of people.
Dope.
It is super nice though because there are people who have in their communities been forgiven of these things. In their local communities have been forgiven for these crimes, but on a federal level have not, and it causes issues with legal stuff. So that was super nice of him to do.
One of the things that has been interesting to watch has been the interestingness between like what American diplomats are saying and what American military advisors are doing with regard to what's going on across some ponds from us. Because
you can't say anything about the across or a wide or from this to that. Someone will get mad.
They've been playing an interesting game where like the advisors are basically like, hey, y'all, you're about to walk into the same mess that we walked into and did not walk out of well. So maybe you shouldn't do these things. Even while they're like, but, you know, and it's been interesting watching them like play the game. Like there's a guy I follow, Bo the Fifth Column. He has really interesting takes on things.
Bo's awesome. I love Bo.
And it is the poker game where everyone knows that everyone else is cheating.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Cold War.
The way that the game has been played is like they're playing a complicated game fairly well. And it sucks because like there's a whole lot of people who are caught in the middle facing a whole lot of hell right now.
Yeah.
But like from watching Bo, I understand why they have to play the game the way they are. Because nations are terrible and politics are stupid. And we live in a mess.
We do.
Nothing is ever as easy as nothing's ever as easy as people want it to be, but that doesn't mean I can't be mad at my senator for saying something really stupid about TikTok.
Fucking Fetterman, dude. Like,
I know. I've been rooting for him so much.
I know.
And I'm like, dude, why?
Yeah. You just lost so.
Well, and he uses TikTok so well. Like of all the folk, like the only person that would surprise me more if it was that dude from South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. It just.
Yeah, Fetterman, like, what are you doing?
He had so much good juice behind him too. He was doing so well with,
and now it's just,
and he just, yeah.
Well, and he's actually there were a lot of folk here that voted for him. I mean, a lot of folk voted for him because he wasn't Dr. Oz, like, which is a thing that I don't think he's quite realized yet.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of his strongest supporters were supporting him because he presented himself as a progressive candidate.
Yeah. Yeah. I am.
Yeah.
I'm at a point in my life where, like, I've spent so much of my time trying to find like I don't even know how to put words around it. Mm-hmm. The like in a problem, say racism, right? We're gonna take racism. Yeah. In a problem, there's
why not something, you know,
like there's got to be an edge to that problem that you can push on to make it better, right? There's got to be a thing that you can say that is the right thing to say that's in the middle enough that it'll catch enough people and pull enough people over that you've done a good thing and pushed it forward. And I'm at the point now where I think just screaming about the most obnoxious thing you can might actually be a better recourse.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I get it. I get that you have to play the politics. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care because I'm looking at videos every day of hundreds of thousands of Palestinian kids getting bombed, and that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And the fact that there are people out there playing politics about it is ridiculous to me. It's disgusting.
And this is the same reason why, like, I consistently say that anytime you have a Christian nation, you will inevitably have neither.
That's totally fair.
Like, because, like, there is stuff that nations have to do to exist as a nation, mm-hmm. that are shady. Like,
okay.
I mean, this is just the reality. Like, you cannot. In order to exist as a nation, and whether that's because of the system that we have now, I don't know what that is all about, but like, even Star Trek, the United Federation of Planets, you find out in Deep Space Nine that they've been doing shady stuff the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot about our generation's place in politics. I swear this relates. It's fucking ping pong in my head. And the youth, there was a trend there for a while about the people younger than us calling us out for not doing enough politically. Mm-hmm. And a lot of our generation saying, well, sorry, we were absorbing all the emotional damage, so you didn't have to fucking deal with that. But I think if in 100 years, looking back on our place in politics, we are doing a lot by not being involved. And I know that sounds really stupid.
Yeah, I've been seeing, I don't know if you've seen this. There's a lot of folk that are noticing boomerish tendencies among Gen Z.
That's fair.
Yeah. That like millennials and Gen X. Now Gen X is weird. There's a weird split in Gen X. There is the Gen X burnouts, and there's the Gen X like buy-ins, I guess. I don't really know, but it's a weird. I don't see a lot of Gen X folk that are just like, They're either like way into the system as it is, or they're like burnt by the system.
I think most of Gen X...
There's not a lot of middle ground.
I think most of Gen X is just boomers. And then you have the buffer of the bottom of the Gen X that we just torch the fuck out of.
Well, and I do know a lot of the like boomery things that get credited to boomers are actually the silence.
Yeah.
Because like when you look at the age range, like that, and millennials, like millennials never got a chance to get started.
Right.
Like, I know 100% that like the privilege that I had to be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
And like the act of me purchasing my own home has given me advantages that like I would not have had otherwise.
Right. Right. I think it'll be interesting. So here was the thought process that went through my head the other day is my parents' were an incredibly abusive generation. They came back from the war broken, and it was a lot of violence, right?
Mm-hmm. And they never did anything about it because you didn't do that.
Right. So in response, our parents' generation raised us as helicopter parents, most of them.
Yep.
Like culturally very up over our shit, right?
Yes. And culturally like between like our age and like 10 to 15 years younger than us, like, yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Like that was the helicopter parent generation.
That was the satanic panic. That was all of it, all of this weirdness. And our current political structure is the exact same thing. It's the boomers refusing to let us have anything because they're afraid we're going to fuck it up. But in the long run, it's going to be amazing because all of these people are going to die out. And this buffer of us not having anything is going to lead to a wave of this next generation all hitting at once. Right? Because we're not there to fill the hole because they won't let us. But these guys are still going to die at some point.
Well, but I do think there's part of that, though, that's in large part because of... And eventually this might change in the next, like, couple of years, depending on how things go. So the Democratic Party has been utterly useless at getting involved in local politics. And that is going to ultimately be their downfall. Because I can't tell you how many races on the last ballot were just one person Republican. I will say here, I am seeing
a lot more in the big city here. There is a lot more talk in let me rewind and fucking put some words together. In the local races here, in a blue state.
Glad you landed, Reaper.
I am surprised because most of the community, the local community here, is super left.
Right.
For this place, I would say. They're not really left, but...
You're not actually the gayest state in the nation, but you're still pretty gay.
As soon as I read that headline, I was like, this is absolute bullshit. There's no way. I don't know where these, and literally like within an hour, they had announced it was wrong. And I was like,
yeah. And then I had sent you the follow-up where it's like, just kidding.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, someone misplaced a decimal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, the Republican Party is absolutely imploding.
Mm-hmm.
But while that's happening, the Democrats are just shooting themselves in the foot.
I think what we're seeing is the right fall off and the left split.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to have to happen.
Which, sure, but
yeah,
the right falling off is going to be super painful though.
It is super messy.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. I don't even want to think about it.
It's. Yep.
Because the whole thing with Colorado, like
that. So the one that I'm actually more interested in, is when the prosecutor dude asked the Supreme Court, like, "Hey, do presidents have immunity?"
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of precedent either way.
There's absolutely no way that they can rule in that and win. No matter how they rule, they will lose. Because if presidents have immunity, then all of their rhetoric about getting Biden
is bullshit.
If presidents don't have immunity, then Trump gets prosecuted. Like, they cannot win.
I mean, really, we're at a point, though, where nobody wins.
Well, right. It's not going to matter because, like, there are no consequences.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean... I worry, like, okay, am I happy that he's not on the ballot in Colorado? Yeah. Do I think that it's an interesting precedent? And especially if it's a domino that starts falling, which it sounds like that might be, it scares me because every time one of those dominoes falls, you're just...
Yeah, it's...
putting more fuel on an already fiery fire.
We have the oldest constitution in the world, and its rough edges are starting to show.
Yeah.
Like,
I just don't
there's a reason why nobody else has, and it shouldn't, like, Canada redid their constitution in the 80s.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know why.
But the way that, like, there's an entire group of people in this country that worship the Constitution like it's the Bible.
They don't. See, here's the thing that I don't fucking understand. They hold the Bible and the Constitution up in front of people and do this shit,
but never actually read it.
But they have no idea what the contents of either of those documents are.
None at all.
I don't understand. And I don't understand how it's gotten this far.
There was an article I heard about not too long ago that showed that tolerance goes down if you hold religious beliefs, but tolerance goes up if you hold religious beliefs and go to church regularly.
Oh.
So if you're in a community, you have to learn to be tolerant.
Interesting.
Because you're going to come across people that you don't 100% agree with.
I come across people I don't agree with all the time.
But if you never interact with folk who believe differently from you,
right? Which
is the same reason why, like, rural areas tend to be more xenophobic than urban areas. Because if you come across people who are different from you, you have to learn to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's 100% why every concentrated city is more left-leaning.
Yep. Have a good holiday, Reaper.
Bye, Reaper.
I know you'll probably not hear that, but
yeah, maybe you'll come back and listen to this ass end of the show.
yeah, I'll just go like this because he still has the chat. He said,
Oh yeah,
"I'll just say that."
there you go. No, he'll never know that. Oh, this will fucking piss him off.
Oh no.
He will never understand the joke.
Oh, I like it.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's that exposure to difference,
So
and it goes back to the whole thing we talked about before about community. Like,
yeah, it is interesting. So there's a lot of talk about. There's a lot of. There's a lot of talk on autism TikTok about how autism may actually be our genetic response to technology. That like,
okay.
if you talk to neurodivergent people and autistic people in particular, most of them have trouble interacting in person, but interact really well through technology. Through email and through text. It's much easier for them to process that way than it is to do in person.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because you're also talking about a group of people who don't really have a large chunk of them don't really do community, right?
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's online.
Because almost all of my interactions when I'm at work are masked. Like,
yeah.
like almost all of my interactions at work, I'm masking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which is why I'm so exhausted after Sunday morning.
This is also why it's probably going to be a couple weeks before there's another stream.
Well, I mean, I'll be good by
2 weeks from now.
When would our next one be? Like yeah, a regular 2-week thing. Like I'll be good by then. But
it'll be New Year's though, won't it?
Yeah, it will be next year.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. So it is interesting. It's I feel really bad that our next generation is going to have to figure all this shit out. Right? Because we're not really given them a whole lot to work with. Well, I feel really bad about that.
It's that whole like we're not giving them a whole lot to work with because we've not been given a whole lot to work with because there's folk that just refuse to retire.
Yeah. And again, I think when 100 years from now, when people look back at our generation, our purpose will be to be the buffer.
I will be really interested to read like when I'm like 80 or 90, right? Mm-hmm. So like get a hold of some kid's history book and just see what's in there about like the span of things that I was alive for.
Yeah. Yeah. Are
they gonna show like black and white pictures of January 6th to like to make it look like it happened so long ago?
Oh yeah,
like they did with the civil rights era for us.
That is horrifying, isn't it?
Like I constantly forget that my mother was 15 years old when that was happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
that's terrifying.
That's how not long ago that was. I think. Hold on.
Yeah, that little girl, the little black girl that was the first girl in the mixed school. She's here. You can go talk to her if you want to.
So when Martin Luther King Jr. gave his "I Have a Dream" speech, my mother was 14 years old.
That's terrifying.
Like, that's how not long ago that was.
That's terrifying.
When my dad was a kid, they had Civil War veterans in the like holiday parades.
What scares me, this is the one that always blows my mind. My great grandmother I knew her and I got to talk to her like a lot. I was
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, somewhere in there when she died. I remember having lots of conversations with her.
My great grandma died at 99 when I was in like college.
Yeah. My great grandmother was on the wagon train.
Oh.
And she told us stories about getting off the wagon at the stops and playing with the Indian kids.
Huh.
And it blows my mind that, like, yeah, that was the fucking late 1800s,
Yeah.
right? Like, holy shit.
Well, like I remember when I was in like junior high, I think. And this was like, I had to interview someone who was alive during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
that was my grandpa. Like he was in high school during the Great Depression.
It just blows my mind. Like, yeah, Barlazy's. I wonder if there isn't more of that where we were. Like,
Probably.
in that strip along, like, pre-mountains, because of how many people gave up before going out to California. It's just crazy to me to think that, like, between my great-grandmother, someone I talked to, and some young kid that I meet, the span of time there will be...
You even come into it sometimes just like, like I mentioned to a kid in high school about like meeting my family at the gate in an airplane once.
Right. Yeah.
And they were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, right.
I was just having a conversation the other day about how someone asked me something about being old and like, what's the thing? What's the thing that separates it for you? And I was like, 9/11, 100%. Mm-hmm. The world was a different fucking place before that day. And specifically the next like year. That year, everything before it was different.
Yep.
We were in a TV world. It doesn't fucking exist anymore. It was a sitcom version of reality. Everything was
different. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back on it, it's like looking at a sitcom. It's weird to me.
The fact that I have pictures from like the late 90s of me like taking my camera and just going to the commercial airport to take pictures of planes.
Yeah.
Like, because you could just do that. You just went through security and then you just do whatever.
Nobody cared. The big thing was the line onto the walkway. That was the thing they cared about. Anything beyond that, they didn't give a shit.
Step right. Walkers to the left, standard to the right.
So weird.
Oh man.
So weird.
Like we used to book flights through Houston. Oh yeah, with your pocket bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to book flights through Houston and then like because we had family there and we'd make sure we had like a 5-hour layover or something. We'd like pop out of the airport, get lunch with our family, just pop back in. Like that takes so much time now. You can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird. The world is just a weird place.
Yep. And that doesn't even get into the surveillance. But we don't need to talk about that. Reaper landed. Should we just call it a night?
I am totally okay with that.
Let's call it. Reaper is at the gate. He's getting off the plane.
He's meeting his mom probably. She's probably picking him up, right?
Probably. Well, maybe in like half
hugs.
an hour. I don't know if he's getting like bags or stuff. Like,
True.
I don't know.
Probably not. He's probably travels light. I figure he probably travels
Do you
light.
think he just had a carry-on?
Yeah.
I mean, well, he did. Maybe. Yeah. 2 weeks. Is the plan.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Weeks.
One of these days, I swear, you're going to see a random live music stream pop up. I don't know when it's going to be. I'm working on some shit, but I all of a sudden, everything in my life happened at once. And I literally just stopped one day and said, I'm not doing anything until next year. So,
Yeah, that's fair. That's okay.
welcome to the
that.
buffer. But yeah, I might get bored and do that at some point. Anyway, yeah, I am down.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, Barlazy. Thanks for everyone who swung by. Genova, I know is here.
Whoever is still listening to this after 3 hours listening on the recording later. Why?
And I'm going to throw out there, after having just lived this experience, this was a rough one. There were some dead spots in this one.
It was definitely not our best,
No.
but it's not as bad as it's definitely not our worst.
See, it's great to be in a place that we could literally just shit for 3 hours and it would still not be the worst thing that
I am pretty sure that there were some transmissions from the bunker episodes where we were literally just like doing shots and giggling because we had done too many shots.
Yeah. No, some of those, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I think we're done.
Boop to boop. Y'all have a wonderful holiday.
Yes.
I hope that you get a chance to rest and relax. If your employer is making you work in the week between December and January, or like December 25th and January 31st, if your employer is making you work, they are a jerk.
This is 100%. We call this the buffer, man. This is when you find the clipboard and you walk around. We don't give a shit.
It is the time that does not exist.
Half day on Christmas. Ugh. Well, at least it's a half day.
At least it is a half day.
Hopefully you're getting paid double time or some shit. Some weird corporate pat on the back pizza party something. Right? There's always something. Oh, here's the stocking stuffer. Merry Christmas. Whatever.
Although, I have to work on Wednesday, but it's not like work. It's just like, so AA meets at the church.
Oh.
And so we just want to make sure that, we're there so that AA can meet, because we figure.
Yeah. It's probably an important
They're
one.
probably going to want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like we don't have to be there, but it's like we ought to be there for AA.
And that's going to be a tough AA.
Yeah.
Those are always hard ones. This time of year, anyone this time of year.
Exactly.
And speaking of, if we have a spot in the Discord, if you do need someone to talk to.
If you're having a rough time, we got place.
We got ears, and we got some people who are actually smart about talking about shit. This guy's almost a doctor.
I am almost a doctor.
I'm a certified audio engineer.
At least you got that going for you.
So dumb, dude. Thanks for hanging out. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Pastor, for your time.
I love all of you except for Reaper.
And I love him extra special with peanut butter and jelly. Jelly.
Oh, I get to have English muffin bread tomorrow.
I don't know what the button.
You lost the button?
I don't know where it is.
Button.
I think you're just gonna hit I'm just gonna hit the stop button again.
I don't know what we're doing anymore.
Thank you guys. Love you guys. See you on the flip side in 2 weeks.
See you next year.
So bad. You had to do it, didn't you?
I did. I did had to do it.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't listen to this. Go back in time.
No apologies.
Go back in time to the very beginning of this episode and tell those people not to do it. This was just not.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. Proud moment.
It's like farting in an elevator, dude.
Proud of that too. Especially if it's like good and stinky.
God.
Just me saying hello.
You are that guy. You're 100% that guy. Fart on a crowded elevator and then just quietly giggle to yourself the whole way up.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm the opposite.
Bask in my musk.
I will vomit from holding the fart in before I will fart in an elevator.
I am you.
The anxiousness.
That which is inside of me needs to be on the outside.
So bad. So bad.
Especially if it's best when they're the really loud ones. When it's just everybody knows it's you.
Do you just laugh at that point?
I think you have to.
Like, do you just own it?
Like, if you let one out and it's loud, you just got to be like, I'm sorry, y'all. I thought that was gonna be a quiet one. Like, that's just all you got to do.
See, I can't. That's just the most embarrassing thing I think I can imagine.
Farting in public?
Farting in an elevator and having it make sound like that. The thought of it makes me sick. Like, it literally, I would throw up from
You will be an awful old person because let me tell you how much old people fart.
The amount of self-hatred that I have and the amount of like being perceived that would happen in that moment would make me just vomit.
Dude, you just gotta suck it up and be like, you know what? This is a natural bodily function. It's a thing that happens. I'm gonna fart.
That's the thing. The very act of it is the lack of being able to suck it up.
I will concede you that point. The very act of it is the lack of being able to suck it up.
Yes. I think we're done here, dude. I love you. Thank you for all of this. I think someone just
farted in the elevator. And it was probably me.
It probably was. And I'm going to throw up thinking about it. Good night. What have we done? Nope. That. Bye.